All right, hello everybody. Welcome to. Oh, do you guys have this up? I should have asked first. Welcome to Queen's Gambit with a whole new look.
Look at that!
How slick is that?
Looks so great.
Looks so good.
Very nice.
I want to start out today by throwing a huge shout out to Proper Nerdy for. He and I had a lot of back and forth about ideas and thoughts for overlay stuff. He is the mastermind. I was just kind of the critic. But he landed on this concept, which looks really slick. So,
it looks so good.
And he and Luca do a lot of the overlay work for this channel. So shout out to those guys, and especially Proper for this particular one. Welcome to Queen's Gambit. This is a Tyranny of Dragons campaign plus, with a lot of plus. If you think you know the Tyranny of Dragons campaign, I guarantee you have not seen it like this before. My name's Dat Magic Juice. I am the DM for this group. I like to refer to myself as the Shepherd. And underneath me, I don't want to say below me, underneath me in the overlay is my Clouder. And if you guys could introduce yourselves, your characters real quick. And we talked about this briefly. At this point in the campaign, where are you at, like in and out of character with what's happened versus what's next? I'll do a full recap of last episode immediately after you guys finish. So, Sir Heck, who the heck are you?
It's me, Sir Heckelite, GM and player here at TPK Roleplay. Tonight I will be playing Aster, the druid, wild hunt, shifter, circle wildfire person. And I think both of us are actually kind of in a similar position. She's having a lot of questions about what is happening and a lot of questions about herself and her journey becoming a leader for her tribe and everything. And hopefully that will get more answered and more resolved through the session and going forward for sure. Let's move on down the line here.
I'm next. Hi, I'm Niffer. I'm playing Eliseo, the Aasimar wizard. I forget sometimes. And look, I have a tiny brain right now, okay?
It's all good.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think that Eliseo, they are probably just kind of going with things because they know, like, okay, this is what's gonna happen and we need to make the best of it, but also is probably not happy because there's a lot of tie to their past that they're not really like wanting to confront, because they were like, hey, you know what, it's in the past, we're just gonna let it be in the past, and now it's not in the past, and they're just like, okay. So yeah, that And Niffer is just like, hey, I still want a beach episode, please.
I haven't said no, for the record.
Beach episode!
All right, Hyacinth, you're up.
Hi guys, I'm Hyacinth, playing Icarus, the elven bardlock, twin 2 of the duo. Right now he's probably... in my mind, he's feeling a little self-conscious because as a bard, he was like feeling very heroic, like very excited to like get out there and finally do something. And he was like riding that like adrenaline high from like trying to be a hero. And now he's like facing the repercussions, like thinking about like what all happened and like going over that all. And it's like the actual like thinking part of it. So he's a little like not as good at that, and he has to comprehend everything.
I'm Corndog. I'm playing twin number 1 named Juno, the elven cleric, who's definitely not sure what they're supposed to do next. She's ready to go back to Greenest and talk to some people and hopefully get some form of direction, because her direction currently is, I don't know what to do or where to go. I think she also is like she's like trying to learn more about who Ulta and Aster are, because she's known them for 2 days?
I think maybe
3
max.
3 in-game days, I believe. Yeah, since the start of this campaign.
While she knows that Ulta is the best sleeper of the group. She just doesn't know much about these two people that her brother brought to the party. So there is definitely some who are we? What are we doing? Going through both mine and Juno's head.
Yeah. So that brings it to me. My name's Chrissy. I'll be playing Ulta, the Swarmkeeper Ranger Kobold. So Ulta was pretty candid at the end of the last episode about how she felt. To kind of recap, she really doesn't know right now where she fits in with this group, or if it's even on her scope to stick around. But that was pre kind of having this revelation and experience that was a little bit outside of, so that helped kind of tie her back into it, but she's still just struggling, came into like a whole family unit, has only been with them for a couple of days, doesn't really know the dynamic yet. I don't think any of us really do. So she's just like, what are we doing? In 3 days we've stormed a keep, or we've been part of a storming of a keep, and all of this craziness has happened. So she's just kind of like, and me as a player, I mean, this campaign it moves quick, and that as a player, I'm like struggling to just like hold on and make sure we're not missing anything, or, oh no, we didn't do this, like maybe we should have done it this way. And I think for myself as a player, I kind of have to check that too. So, but it's moving quick. So it's just one of those things where it's like, you gotta keep up.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, everybody. So, with those comments, I'll give a brief recap of our last session. So, we had just come off of a pretty intense encounter against the half-dragon Langdedrosa Cyanwrath and this mysterious purple-adorned warrior named Frulam Mondath. Until that point, all you guys had seen was like what her armor looks like, and she had just left the rear guard that you guys were trying to catch up to in order to your original objective was to try and find someone from the cult raiding party to take back to Greenest, and hopefully glean some information from them about like what's going on with these raids, what's going on with your cult, because all of you through your various factions had heard about concern over such activity and essentially been instructed to move as this collective group to try and get more information. An update to that was after the raid in Greenest, when Nessim, the monk apprentice, asked you to look for his master, who he thought was with this raiding party at this camp. Turns out he was correct. So you're exactly right, Chrissy. The pace of this, I mean, episode 1 was like, okay, here we are, go. And it's been at or about that pace for 6 episodes now. So this is like the first real breather you guys are getting after, in our last episode, you guys basically finished going through this, what you now know was a hatchery, referred to as a Dragon Hatchery. You found the 2 most notable sites would have been the actual dragon eggs themselves, 3 black dragon eggs that you knew to some degree at that point were here on purpose for the purpose of being hatched. What beyond that you might not know, but they were brought here and for the purpose of actually being hatched and then taken away. Icarus, you caught a conversation just before the big fight that ended with a reference to, this is one of those places where we all need to make sure our notes are actually in sync. Rezmir is pleased with our progress. This was Frulam Mondath talking. Mm-hmm. Once the eggs have hatched, they'll be shipped off to her being Rezmir. And then the rest of the group would be going north for a great ceremony. And then the other notable feature you guys discovered on your way through the rest of this cave was basically the training area. There was a pen with several drakes that looked like they were very attentive toward you and extremely responsive to food, which is part of their nature, but they seemed a little bit more tame than especially like a wild drake would be like. So this was a training chamber for them. You let them go. You guys did handle yourselves well against a roper, which is an intense encounter. But yeah, and then I guess I should have said 3 major things. The chamber that you had fought in contained this really elaborate mural. What's like the carving version of a mural? I don't know what the word
fresco,
is.
I think.
I'm gonna go with that. But it's like, imagine that the entire cave wall of this chamber, and it was like a 30-foot tall, 60-foot wide or so wall, like corner to corner had this etching out in the stone depiction of a series of dragons flying over like a coastal landscape. You did see that the black dragons were disproportionately represented, and then the other notable feature was a 5-headed dragon, which you all know is like the legend of Tiamat, coming out of a mountain, like a volcano. So I feel like, let me know if this is not accurate, but I'm getting the vibe from you guys that we're kind of ended up with more questions than answers through this whole ordeal. Yep. And we will put it on the table that this was going to this cave was brand new on the fly decision making, because your original plan was go to the camp, find the monk, maybe capture somebody and get back. And this is an extra step that revealed a lot more for you guys along the way. So, sorry for all the talking, chat. There's obviously a lot to catch up on now that we're not going in Sir Hexward's 60 miles an hour from the get-go. So, you are still you're like at the end of this cave. And I do have to ask, are we fully on our way out? Or are we going for any last minute stuff within the cave?
I'm pretty sure I'm still like carrying Icarus over my shoulder from last session. Just being like, nope, we're getting out. Nope.
Yeah, I also have to admit, I don't remember. We did not end on a rest. So
You had just finished.
We had just finished one, and we were exiting the cave before Alta and Aster had their conversation, and then Icarus came up and had a little interaction with Ulta, and then that's kind of where we ended it.
Okay, so there were a couple of pretty serious and deep visions in that episode too. Did we need to revisit that, guys, or are you feeling comfortable with those?
I'm just gonna scroll back through the chat and find it.
Yeah.
Ulta is comfortable with hers. I remember it.
Aster's comfortable with hers as well.
Okay, Corndog, while you're scrolling, interrupt me if we do need to revisit that. But then I think we'll move forward with, we're at the next evening now. If I recall correctly, we had basically switched to night shift and haven't switched back yet. So your long rest would have taken you to the next day again. The next night again. So now we'll flip you back to the coast map. And you'll see some new features on here that I plopped in as promised from the map that I believe Icarus found in Frulam's office / quarters in the cave.
That's a pretty map. I just got to be honest.
Cool. I like this. Yes, very much so.
I like that there's the path that we've taken, which is just a lot of scribbles in the places that we've
That's actually
been.
not what that is.
No?
That's their markings, I believe.
Oh.
Yes, that is the markings. So the path you took was from East Erebor, along that road straight into Greenest. but then this green scribbling is what was on the map that Icarus found. And he did glean from that right away that it seemed to indicate a path for the raiding party to take.
Yeah, if we're looking at it in character, I can say, well, and based on what I overheard, they were supposed to be headed north had we not interrupted them. So it's a little out of the way going left. Left is west first, and then it would have, but it looks like after that it goes north. So maybe that's what they were talking about for a ceremony.
Are you? I'm sorry. Are you asking me, or are you asking in character?
No, I was just talking to. I'm assuming LSAO in character because they have been my map decoder for my
Right. You just handed me all of the papers and told me to figure it out. Right.
Yeah.
I remember that now.
As you can see from my, what is? I'm forgetting a word now. Latitude? Nope.
Elevation?
What is a word for mappy things?
Location?
Cartography?
Locational knowledge? Nope, it's just not happening. It's not getting there.
No, I think that's very in character though, that you're just like, as you can tell from my latitude.
Cardinality? I don't know.
I feel like it started with an L.
Location?
And then
I don't know.
Icarus will like walk alone for a second, just like upset and thinking, and he'll just like walk like just a step aside from everyone as he's thinking that through.
Okay.
So you were gonna tell me something.
You just took from this.
Yeah, you were gonna tell me something and got upset that you couldn't remember words, so you walked away without finishing. Okay.
Oh, what else do I need to say?
No. You were just like, as you can tell from my.
Oh, yeah. I'm just saying that the green, based on what I heard when I overheard the two big baddies talking,
Yeah.
that
I don't
they
think
said they were
big
about
bads.
to, after they left the hatchery, they were going to head north for a ceremony.
Right.
I'm assuming, it goes west and then
north.
North-ish. So I'm assuming that's the path they marked for that.
Good job, cardinal directions. Yeah, and I like pat you on the shoulder. North, good. Yep, yeah, you did good. It was great.
Do we see anything as we're walking out of this cave? Are we just strolling out? Are we stealthing? Yes, that's more of like general questions for the team.
I feel like it would behoove us to go out quietly.
Yeah.
So it is like the end of sunset, that twilight sort of in between the light of the end of a day and actual darkness of night. You do have a healthy amount of moonlight, so I'm not going to say it's like your lights out in a cave, but you are able to see, all of you are able to see far enough to tell that the remains of the charred tents and sleeping and resting areas of the camp are pretty few and far between. They're pretty thoroughly burned out. You can't see anybody around, and ahead of you is that sort of one-way in and out mouth of this small valley.
Are my ropes still there for the people who escaped?
Ooh, they are.
Scavenge that rope.
Yes.
A few minutes later, I'm just going to walk back to the group, and I'm just going to go, I think the word I was looking for was sense of direction.
Yeah.
I found that, and that's all that matters, friend.
That is 3 words, sir.
Direction was the emphasis, like directional knowledge or directional.
Yep.
All good.
Yeah.
Okay, so at first glance, that's what you catch. There are no immediate signs of anybody still being around, though you're field of view is fairly limited because of being nighttime.
I could take the lead if you guys want me to kind of look out ahead for us.
Yeah.
By
Good idea.
some reverse logic, wouldn't it be safer to travel at night? Because we can see because of your thing, sister. And then, no one else thinks to? Question mark?
Make a collective perception check.
Look with your collective eyes.
Merp.
No.
Uh,
I got 10.
Okay, here's your one
I got
chance roll 20.
18.
Oh god, I'm so zoomed in.
Hey, Chad, if you have those point rewards, I think this is indicative of us needing some for the future.
Sir and Juno killed it.
I see 4.
What was yours, Icarus? 18?
18, yeah.
Good too. Nah, it's just us, Nipper.
Niffer, would you be willing to put yours in the chats on the roll 20s?
Oh, I forgot you like to roll physical dice. What was yours, Niffer?
I'm sorry that I like the click clacks.
It's all good. I just forgot that I shouldn't be expecting those numbers.
Got 10. I will write them in the chat now that I know you want them.
Okay, thank you. So actually, all of you are able to tell, with enough confidence that at least the 2 instances that you've seen this raiding party move have been at night. But that is not like what normal people do.
Yeah, but who said we were
Hey.
normal either?
I love traveling at night.
Night is great.
At night.
Are we going back to Greenest, or are we going to try to follow them again? Because personally, I'd like to go back to Greenest and just check in.
I would very much like that too.
That's what I
It
have
would
a
be
feeling
worth
we should go.
figuring out any other knowledge that they've learned since we've left.
And we got the map after most of the people left. So chances are they'll still be following the directions we have for them.
Very good point.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's head back to Greenest then.
All right. So through the evening, I'll just use those. Actually, no, that was a very different thing. Everybody make a perception check again, please. For observing your surroundings. And what's your vibe? Are you being casual, just kind of strolling through the night
Natural 20.
at a comfortable pace? Are you booking it?
Heck
Are
yeah.
you being careful? What's the vibe here? Vibe check. Ooh, nice.
Walking vibe check?
I think there is probably like a little bit of urgency,
Yeah.
but like we're not just booking it and not glancing left or right, but
Yeah.
moving with intention.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that phrase.
I think
With
me too.
purpose.
Especially because we don't think they're gonna backtrack.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fingers crossed.
So you're able to, I'm going to say about halfway back, along the way, you've been able to notice that the directionality of the tracks that you had observed coming in, and while you were on your way in, you saw tracks going out as well. The tracks going out are now tenfold, both in volume and in type. So on the way out before, you had only seen a couple of different, I forget who was looking for it, but a couple of different humanoid species and maybe 1 or 2 beasts that seemed to match up with what you had encountered in the original raid on Greenest when you were trying to get people out into safety and all that jazz. Now, what you're able to see is a whole slew of beast tracks, humanoid footprints, and divots from carts. And the area that it covers is at minimum 30 feet wide, sometimes as wide as 60. And you can tell that there are dozens, at least, different creatures and people involved with this group. Other than that, you don't get any. Nobody attacks you. There's no pending sense of danger or anything along those lines. It is a very quiet evening for you.
I am going to set a record with the earliest in the session I've remembered that I, in fact, have a familiar.
Mm-hmm.
And I am going to send it up to see if maybe a higher elevation can see further for, like, can we see, like, oh, there's a crowd of torches off on the horizon or whatever. And also just to generally be keeping an eye out for any dangers that might be coming to get us as we are proceeding back to Greenest.
Sure. Have Puff make an investigation check, please.
Okay. One of these days, I'm going to remember to keep Puff's stat block out.
Oh, I gotta...
That's a 9.
Okay.
He's sleepy from staying up and keeping an eye on Icarus.
Yeah.
all night.
He had to keep Icarus straight.
So, far, far, far ahead,
Poor little wrinkly
Puff
Puff.
can catch a faint glow.
Yeah.
You're seeing this at the same time, yes? Through his eyes?
Yes.
So you see a faint glow in the location that you can glean is most likely Greenest or very near it.
Okay.
Not the kind of glow that gives you the sense of like, oh shit, it's on fire again.
Okay, good.
More like a typical nighttime glint of,
Yeah.
you know, if there is a nightlife, that's it, sort of thing.
Yeah, people live here.
Yeah.
Thank you for specifying.
Don't want to raise any
Just
false
like-
alarms.
We're on the way. It's on fire again.
Oh, crap.
Well, it can't happen again.
Guess
The deck of TPK thing said so.
Oh, yeah. That's it. Everything else around you is
Okay.
completely dark, save for the moonlight.
Okay. Sorry, I'm very sleepy. I'm getting in character, apparently.
So this is, and if there isn't anything, that's fine. I just want to make sure that it's clear. This is a clear opportunity for you all over the 8-10 hours or so to discuss anything, recap anything, plan anything, literally any conversational topics between all of you. This is a solid like 8 to 10 hours that you have an opportunity for it.
So you're telling us we have to role play?
I'm not telling you have to.
I don't think Aster
You don't
and
have to.
Ulta and my brother told me how they met. It was just
Yeah,
They
it
met.
Was, yeah.
it was like very brief, but I think like as we started walking and Juno was just kind of like looking around, she would just like kind of look over to Aster and Ulta, just so how did you two meet? Did you two know each other before you met my brother?
Perhaps vaguely. We were all just in Erebor, and our organizations all just kind of pointed us in the same direction. We just kind of met.
Yeah.
Go for it.
I technically didn't find a Harper in Erebor, I don't think, but I was headed this way anyways.
Yeah, I think we were all just kind of tasked with some of the same stuff. I had talked to a friend of mine in the Lord's Alliance, and they had connected me with Aster, and then we connected with Icarus. So he said he had family on the way in the direction we were going, so
Place to crash.
Indeed, he does.
And I like
And
elbow
same
my
with the,
sister.
like a floor to sleep on.
And same with the Emerald
Crashing.
Enclave, who I talk to sometimes.
So we have the Emerald Conclave and the Lord's Alliance and Harper's amongst us.
I think so.
It looks like it.
Emerald Enclave with an E.
Enclave. Yes.
Yeah.
Sister, we are in Harper's, right?
Yes.
I thought we were. Okay,
Yep.
good.
I double
Good.
checked. We are indeed.
No, that was in character, fully.
Yep. That whole conversation was to be like, yep, double
'Cause
checked. We're
It
still.
would have been awkward if the reason I couldn't find them was because I was looking for the wrong people.
I paid our membership dues on time. Don't worry, we're still
Okay.
involved in this
Okay.
organization.
Okay, out of character, of course you pay his membership dues. Like, of course. But anyways.
And with that, I'll throw out a prompt. If you guys don't bite, it's all good. But with that, there's varying degrees of how much contact you actually had with your factions, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for some of you, it was more of an actual. I won't say actual. Semi-informative. We have some information. We think this town's in danger. You should go there, type of thing. But for some of you, it was more along the lines of something's going to happen there. You need to sync up with these other factions because we're trying to work together, but we don't really know much. And it would be notable for all of you, even though you are all don't take this the wrong way, but like in the lower ranks, I guess, of your various factions.
It was our mom that was involved, who was like actually knew stuff, and we're just kind of like,
Right.
we're still here. We're 200
helping.
years old, but no one's
helping.
trusted us.
But yeah, you would still. So despite being not among the most informed of your factions, you would still know that like collaborative efforts between them are highly uncommon. There's no bad blood between them necessarily, but collaborative efforts are highly uncommon.
I'm just gonna pose to the group. Then I'm gonna say, do we know if our groups are planning? Like, are they working together, or do we just happen to? Which kind of works for them all at the moment.
I think as, a little smaller group, we didn't know each other personally and that we were going to help each other, but our organizations knew that they were helping each other, if that makes sense.
Oh.
And then there was also that point, that we were talking about like dragon cults and possibly that happening in Greenest, which it did, but then there was also that other point about like necromancers and Fae and everything, the red mages or something, and we never really resolved that, so that's kind of also out there, which is
Sorry, what about
interesting.
necromancers?
There was
Yeah, Juno's eyes are just
something-
very wide as we're like walking
Yeah, at
through.
least-
She's like,
Both of us are like, ooh.
what?
at least
I
that's
feel
what
like
the
you're
Emerald
like, ooh, and I'm like,
said.
oh.
I'm like, death wizards? And she's like, death wizards.
Yeah, I don't know, at least that's what the Emerald Enclave told me to kind of look into as well. I don't know if it's related at all to the Dragon Cult stuff. I don't think it is based on what we've seen so far, but
Well, you'd be surprised.
Do we think the warrior in purple might have some affiliation to death wizards?
Make an Arcana check.
I'm
Was it-
so good at this.
Hey, you know who is actually good at this?
Doesn't matter.
Was her
Nah.
armor dragon plated? Because I just assumed it was.
It had okay.
It
I have
was-
her whole armor
Yeah,
get
I
up.
was
I
gonna
pinned
say,
it. I pinned it in chat.
Oh, that's a good
Real
point.
good. It's like dragon-like armor and
Dragon-like
robes.
armor robes.
Like it's like
Disappears from the
scale-ish.
site and reappears in another spot with the visual of ash and shadow emitting from the spot that she leaves.
Look at
Yeah.
how cool our GM is. Look at those words. They're great.
Chrissy, out of character, is going to ask Juno if she shared about, I think it was Juno or Icarus, I can't remember who it was, if you guys shared out loud about the vision or the feeling of her not ever just like going away, her just kind of disappearing.
I think like this would be the moment that she would actually bring it
Okay.
up. Because like when she brings up like, do you think like she could be? It would definitely be like, last night I received a vision. Sometimes I get premonitions, other times it's things that have happened in the past. And this was very recent. In the fight that we had, the Purple Warrior, she never actually left. Like, we thought she did because she would be in her space, then she'd be gone and she'd be in another space, but she was able to just shift. And she just would disappear from sight and then reappear, but the visual of I saw just ash and shadow emanating from the spot that she left, like kind of like the shadow that we have in the moonlight around us. Like there's still a presence that was here.
Okay,
And it's
everybody
all
make
kind
a.
of odd.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh no.
So
for
everybody
it.
make a perception check, and then I'm actually going to answer that first question, Juno. So you're having a hard time like identifying specifically what type of magic that would have been. You did, however, I'm actually going to go back and read that full description for you guys and chat. You did have like a feeling of intense evil procurement in that moment when you were fighting that person, and when you were seeing that same moment through her eyes. You yourself got that exact same feeling. So you were sort of seeing what was happening through her eyes, and it looked different through her eyes than it did to you when you were in your own perspective. But even just viewing through her perspective, you yourself had that same feeling of like evil presence, sickness. I'm going to read this description to all of you. Whoop, I had it, and then my thing scrolled. Sorry, 1
Pinned.
second.
I pinned it. If
Oh, you
that
pinned it?
helps.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so Juno's vision. So this was at the long rest immediately following that encounter. As you, Juno, go into the deepest meditative state that you've ever reached, you keep coming back to the encounter with Frulam and Langdedrosa. This is highly unusual, and I will interject here to say that, so Juno, until this point, you actually never did have premonitions. The elf sort of background is this constant, like eternal soul reincarnation life cycle. So you and Icarus would both understand that like having dreams and visions at night are almost exclusively in the form of like memories from your past lives. So you seeing this now is like a serious break in that pattern that this had just happened the day before, not in a past life. I even wrote that in the description. Okay, so usually those memories would be triggered based on events that are happening in your current life, but this is a perspective of events that happened just the previous day, which is the unusual part. You keep going back to the same 15 or so seconds in the perspective of Frulam. I'm paraphrasing a little bit. Where she would disappear from sight and reappear in another spot, with the visual of ash and shadow emanating from the spot she leaves. It only happens twice, with the second being a point of desperation. You would have felt this desperation at the moment that she took the jump, I'll say, that you are witnessing. From this perspective, she doesn't actually disappear. She just changes gaze from her intended target to Langdedrosa at the moment that he was supposed to die. Like, you know for sure that is the moment he was supposed to die. She touches something at her side, and the visage of her body simply shifts from one spot to another, not actually disappearing from your gaze. At the moment her dagger enters Langdedrosa's chest, you feel absolutely sick, as if the most potent evil you've ever experienced just manifested in front of you, and then you woke up. So that was the full description of that. I don't know if I want to call it a vision, but I think that's going to be the best word for it for now.
A revisitation in my mind.
Yeah.
An epiphany.
Ooh.
No, that
Revelation.
That implies things that are coming. I thought.
Yeah, and also that implies understanding, which we don't have.
So fully answer the question from before, Juno, you have a hard time telling was that necromancy or not, but it absolutely felt evil, super, super evil. The perception check for all of you. 14, 18, 13, 25, 17.
Yep.
Juno, you mentioned shadows like all of you have in the moonlight, and you all sort of look around casually. Ulta doesn't have a shadow.
What?
Dude,
Is this normal? Has she ever had a shadow?
You don't know.
On that note, I'm gonna take a drink.
is
Ulta, this would be news for you too.
Okay.
You never really noticed before,
is
but you don't
Is
have a
it-
shadow.
is your swarm your shadow, so it just moves and we don't notice it?
Peter Pan?
I will shift with my swarm to see if that changes anything, but I do not think it will. You'll see her just kind of like dodge and like try to get like away from her swarm just a little bit to see if maybe there's something there, but
Your swarm follows you as normal. It's kind of like this aura, but in the form of the tiny beast that you've chosen for the time.
Question
Yeah.
before I keep spitballing. Do we want to try to figure out why this is, or should I just leave it? Because I have a lot of weird ideas.
What do you mean this?
Like, to figure out the shadow thing, I've got a bunch of random ideas that many probably don't make sense, but I don't want to spitball if we don't want to know.
I mean, look, I am a time wizard. And so this would be very, very interesting for me, and I would definitely want to be like thinking about it, if not talking exclusively about this for a long time. So I will
just so
spitball
we're
with
clear, it's my lack of shadow or just Frulam herself? What are you guys spitballing? Ideas about?
I think your lack of
mean-
shadow.
you. I want to talk about Frulam, but also your lack of shadow scares me, and so that probably should be addressed first.
And the rest of us have shadows, correct?
Yes.
Is it,
I'm
is it
gonna
just like
cast
that
light
thing-
on my finger and just hold it up just to
no.
make sure. Just to make sure.
The reading light.
No shadow.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna be like, is it like how a match doesn't cast a shadow because it's the light source itself? I have no idea. I'm just like, I need to do a full like model circle around you.
She will let that happen. I mean, Ulta is probably just as shocked at this revelation as you guys.
Have you ever had a shadow?
That's a good question.
You don't know, Ulta. You don't know.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I haven't really thought about it. I don't actively think, man, check out my shadow. It's a cool shadow.
So, you know how when you look in a mirror or like in a pool, it's like a reflection of yourself? What if a shadow is also a reflection of yourself? Is that saying that you don't have a reflection of yourself? Is it something
that's
about
We
you?
can probably find that out.
Okay, I know.
It's very deep.
I'm gonna like go through my things and pull out
Very
my small
philosophical.
mirror that I have.
Oh.
Do I,
That's very literal. I didn't mean it that way.
Can I see myself in the mirror?
You can.
Okay, alright.
Okay, not a vampire. Good. Cool.
And, well, I don't know if those would all be like synonymous, but like it was just like my mind.
I mean, shadows are scientifically caused by something blocking the light coming from a light source. So, in theory, she should have one. May I? And I like hold my hand up like to your arm to like.
We'll hand my arm to you. That's fine.
Is she still physical?
Yes.
Okay,
Like,
she's
corporeal?
Oh,
not.
that
Yeah, she's
pause.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
pause, I was like,
That scared me.
Sorry.
so much
Yeah, the
panic
pause
in
made
like a
me
half a
nervous.
second.
Did you see my cheeks get red? I was like, oh my god.
She's not really here. No.
She's been a
sorry,
ghost
I didn't understand
this
the
whole
question
time.
right away. Yes, she is physically there.
Okay.
I actually
So-
asked her. You like helped pull her up off the ground not too long ago. So that's at least two of you now that have physically felt that she
We've
is there.
proven. We have proven you're here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Theory
Okay.
3, I'm going to look around for living shadows. around us. Just like perception check.
Okay, this would be investigation.
Okay, in a sense of panic, I'm just gonna start looking around us.
Well, it's nighttime.
Oh, I rolled well. I rolled well. But I also don't think I have a bonus to that.
That tracks.
Investigation. So that's an 18.
Okay. As far as you can tell, all the shadows that are cast around you from yourselves and the trees around the occasional large boulder are all coming from their respective sources that you'd expect. And
Theory
not,
3 debunked.
Not moving or anything.
Maybe someone in town knows more about this.
Yeah, do
We
I
could
know?
probably ask our more knowledgeable friends.
Do
Yeah,
I
I
know
think that would
any like experiences with like from magic? Like, you know how you can do soul jar where you just like yank your own soul out of your body? Is there any magical historical precedence for like yanking your shadow away?
Make
Give me that arcana.
as
Give
the
me that
wizard, you may make an arcana check, and I'm going to say
Yes.
this is actually at advantage because wizard.
Because wizard. I like that reason.
Take it while you can.
Natural 20.
Nice.
So 27.
So repeat your question for me. I want to make sure I'm addressing it as exactly as possible.
I know that there is a historical precedence for things like removing a person's soul and putting it in a different location. Is there any historical precedence for a magical way to remove somebody's shadow? Or as Chad is saying, is there a spell called Shadow Yoink somewhere out there?
Thank you, Purple.
As far as you know, and you're very confident, no such magic exists.
There's no
However-
historical precedence for this. Okay.
However, it is only so far as you know. And you also know that there's a lot that you don't
That
know
I don't know.
about. Like, being a wizard, you know, you would have had to study for it,
Ever.
you know, for incredible amounts of time in order to obtain the abilities and powers and knowledge that you do have. And
Yeah.
you have thorough understanding that even though you're very good at what you do still have much to learn.
I mean, I'm
of the
still
world.
only an intelligence 18. I got some ways to go.
Shadow Yoink. Hey, maybe that's spellcraft you might want to go for, huh?
I
would rather do shadow fix because I'm concerned about this. Can I create a shadow for her so that we all feel better?
I don't know. I think that'd be a stretch, but we can talk about it.
Okay.
So as a ranger, can I ask just a ranger question?
Sure.
I like
Do
this.
I feel like hunter's marked? As if
Ooh,
someone
that's a
is like
very good question.
They're tracking you with your
You
shadow.
feel hunter's marked. So I don't feel like it would be fair for me to say how you might feel, but I can put facts on the table after a check. Does that sound fair?
Mhm.
Okay, so make a. Wow, this one's tough. Make an Arcana check.
Ah, shit.
Do it at advantage though, because it is with an ability that you. Well, what is Hunter's Mark? Is that just like a straight up ranger ability?
As
a spell.
A
It's a spell.
Okay, so yeah, it's gonna be
So-
Arcana, but do it at advantage because it's yours. Okay.
That's a 12.
You've never experienced or witnessed a Hunter's Mark physically altering another being in any way. It really just gives the user an advantageous sense of the target.
I would like to cast See Invisibility
Ooh.
and see if I see anything weird that's like, I don't know, like a weird invisible shell or something like that over Ulta.
Okay.
We are going to spend the rest of the episode on this. I want you to know.
I'd like to pose a question. Ulta, do you feel different?
Less frustrated, but not different.
Hmm.
Do I feel different, DM?
You do not feel different.
That was just like, I'm running out of ideas. I'm just going to pose
I-
questions.
Yeah, I potentially have another idea after. Juno.
Yeah, I have another angle, perhaps, with the oral tradition being kind of a thing in Aster's village. Would she have any idea of like stories or folklore potentially being like
History check.
based? Yeah. Okay.
Does Peter Pan exist in this world?
Juno, what you get a sense of is odd. Almost like it's incomplete.
Wait, I have advantage from chat. Hold
You
on.
can... You know that with this spell, like, you can see invisibility on the material plane, the plane of existence that you are on. But you can also see into the material plane.
This is the
Where-
same number.
Did you just?
Oh, man. Where Ulta's shadow should be, you can see this kind of wave. You know on like old computer screens that had this like winding, these bands that went up on the screen? It was kind of like that in the form of her shadow.
Well, Ulta, at least your shadow still exists on the ethereal plane, even if it's not here right now with us. Or some form of it.
Aster, this is nothing that you've ever heard of before.
Can you step into where the shadow should be? Is there a cold spot?
Juno, can you touch it?
Yeah, Juno will go around and like just kind of like reach into the area around Ulta, but not touching Ulta.
Respectfully.
Just like respectfully reaching her arms around, seeing if
feeling like a
there
horror
is
session.
kind of like a gateway into the ethereal plane or something like that, or if like something's gotten like if the veil's grown too thin between this plane and the ethereal plane. If that makes sense. That's
So
what
as you
she's kind
guys
of
are like
looking for.
doing all of this things, like Ulta will say like, you know, I've never really quite felt right in this body anyways. Maybe it's just, you know, who knows? Always.
Say
always
that
been a
question
little weird for
again,
me.
Juno.
Juno is looking, or she's going to like kind of physically search around Ulta now, like using her hands and stuff like that to see if somehow like the ethereal plane and the material plane, like there's a thick veil between the two of them normally, like you can't see from one plane into the other. It's just, but now that she can, and she can see that there's a shadow on the other side, like just kind of feeling around to see if like that veil here is actually thin, and that perhaps that our friend Ulta here might even be maybe from the ethereal plane. I don't know what she's trying to find out, but she's definitely like really looking at Ulta and being like, what's going on here? And like feeling around her space to see if there's anything that feels off.
Okay.
I'm just trying to figure out if Chrissy is in on this or not.
Not.
Okay.
No.
This was news for her, just as it is for you guys.
Yes.
So make an investigation check.
A magnanimous dispensation.
Hey, we got a bad table.
We got a bad.
Is it that
Wasn't
all of us
this
lose
bad
our shadow?
enough? We're all freaking out here.
Not enough for you, chat.
We're in the Twilight Zone.
2 natural
Look me in the eye,
18s.
Mr. Rogers.
So,
That's
as
like
far as like
second best score I can get, or third.
yeah, as far as like the like does the space feel altered or thin, or anything along those lines? No, it doesn't.
All right, I got one more thing. Unless anyone else has any other ideas.
Oh, I'm gonna look up your bad while you guys are talking here.
Okay. I just kind of like look around to see if anyone else has any other ideas. Okay.
Magnanimous dispensation.
This is gonna be for Aster.
Okay. We
Aster,
got
roll a
another
D100,
bad
please.
table because we were
Two
mean about the
bads?
bad table.
I said thank you afterward. Oh no.
So thanks
Oh,
for that.
This definitely
I
feels like
guess.
this definitely feels like a horror thriller episode. Like
Yeah, we're in an episode of the Twilight Zone. Like we actually are.
Mr. Rogers, I'm sorry.
Mr. Rogers,
Wow.
we're so sorry.
Wow.
Oh no.
Oh no,
Okay.
I'm worried.
No, I wanted it to not be
I made
two
it.
bad tables for Aster, so I tried
Please,
re-rolling,
no.
and it gave me 3 Asters in a row.
It really wanted me to have
Yikes.
So Aster, and is that Icarus? I believe that's Icarus. Yes,
I'm
please
3.
roll D100s.
Oh no. Okay.
Oh,
I'm going to kind of, I guess, like
26.
squat down to be eye
I
level
got
with
56.
Volta. Nice. And just kind of
Nope,
ask.
I got 59. Sorry.
Okay. I'm just gonna kind of squat down to be your eye level and just say, I, in theory, could possibly feel if someone has a presence on you, but only by exerting my own presence on you. Is that okay?
That sentence is going to creep her out, so she's gonna be like, nah,
Okay.
we're good.
I, like, mechanically, I would just be like, if I charm you, can I figure out if somebody else has a charm on you? You know?
Unless you're gonna
I
say
know.
that sentence to her.
Like,
I mean, if in character, if all you're saying to her
Yeah.
is like, I have to control you
Yeah.
to figure this out, she's gonna say no.
Are you familiar with the concept of, like, I don't know what your experience with, like, charming magic and, like, things like that are. Do you know what, you know, I'm getting no reaction. No.
I'm just listening.
Thank you. You know how some magic can have influence over, like, you're a ranger. I assume you can have some influence over your creatures here, yeah? And
To a degree, sure.
yeah. Do you think that perhaps somebody has done that to you?
I feel pretty within myself. I
Okay.
don't feel as if I can't make any decisions or speak on my own behalf, if that's what you mean.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't be sure about it, but I could, by possibly charming you, I could maybe see if somebody else has tried to charm you. But I wouldn't, like, want to do that without you knowing that. You know?
Yeah, I would appreciate asking first for sure.
That's what I'm trying to do. And I'm just gonna, like, stand up and walk away a bit, because
Alta will just kind of sit there like, I mean, with that explanation, like, she would probably turn to Aster and be like, you know, anything dumb happens and I expect you to take care of me.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, just kind of like doing one of these. And then she would say, but you're welcome to, then she would turn to LSAO and say, you're welcome to try whatever you'd like, for sure.
Also, I said a lot of that. Without clearing with the GM that was actually true. But I never feel like that would be a thing. Like, if I tried to charm her, would I be able to tell that somebody else was charming her or had some sort of, like, tie to her?
It's possible. Like
with
it's
her-
plausible. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
say if like mechanically you know for
Yeah.
sure or not.
But, like, with her,
Plausible.
her thinking, like, does this feel like she is hunter's marked? I was like, well, what if she's charmed?
It's I will say it's
So,
a very good
it's-
idea.
It's kind of going off of that.
It's a really inventive idea for you. That's good.
So I wanted to cast suggestion on her.
Okay.
And just say, Alta, turn in a circle, jump up and down, and then touch your toes. And, like, just give her a line of basic instructions and stuff. And then focus on, like, can I charm her? And does it feel like somebody else has already charmed her?
Okay, so
I
a
don't-
couple. Sorry.
I, as a scientist, would be like, I would need to know what she felt like before to know what she feels like now, probably. I don't know. I've never charmed anyone, so I don't know what that would feel like.
So a couple things are going to happen. First, Ulta, you are going to get the you knew this is coming, so you wouldn't be surprised by it, but you get this feeling washing over you that someone is attempting to control a part of your mind, and you have the opportunity to resist it if you choose, or automatically just let it happen.
Knowing that it was Eliseo, I would let it happen.
Okay. So then,
So then you turn in a circle, jump up and down, and touch your toes.
Yep.
Maybe. I mean, now I'm
Oh
really
no!
nervous.
What if she doesn't?
No, all of the normal effects of that spell do happen. So
Yikes. Well,
that I do just want to triple check, Ulta. You are not like immune to being charmed. are
being
you?
charmed.
Ew.
No, I think that's me.
Hey,
We're
It's
resistant.
okay.
at
Has,
least.
at least
we're
has
resistant.
advantage against.
I charmed you
Okay.
anyways.
Yep. Okay. So all that happened, and Ulta, you do have this like lingering sense of like a string pulling on your intentions and actions. Is distinctly different from how you felt just a moment ago. Eliseo, make an Arcana check.
Okay. I'm checking if I have any bonuses. I don't think I do. I do not. So, a natural 20. 13 plus 7.
So, with a full sense of confidence, you do not get a feeling that you have,
Tripped anything.
like
Basically.
triggered anything or dispelled any active effects or
Yeah.
anything along those lines. This
I-
feels like a normal.
I was the only one
Successful
poking
charm.
around in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Doesn't seem like there was any other interference on that. So I don't think there's anyone magically influencing you right now. Also, I hope you got some good stretches in there. That was good.
Sure.
I think that is a good opportunity for us to take a really brief break, guys, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, sure.
No, I need to find out why she doesn't have a shadow.
We're working on it, right?
I need to know.
All right, we will. All right, we're back. And squirming about the fact that Ulta doesn't have a shadow.
Yes.
There were a couple of things that you guys said you wanted to do / throw on the table. So what were those things?
Just point of clarification really quickly. We are just doing this and walking, right? With the exception
Yeah.
of whenever you guys have actively stopped me to inspect me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
I'm not
still
gonna
walking,
say-
but like not paying attention to the road now. We're all focused on the
Puff's
shadow
got it.
business.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I'm not
Puff
going to say
is-
that it's significantly like stunted your progress or anything.
Okay. Alright. Just wondering. I was just making sure we weren't like still standing in the cave when this happened, and I'd be like, shit, we gotta hustle.
Hear me out. This kind of goes back to my other one, with the reflections. And this is a theory, and it's deeper, so don't jump to any conclusions, because I'm full of theories, not the smartest, but I do think a lot. I'm creative. That's important. So, what if you said earlier you feel a little different, or something feels not right? Right, Ulta? You said something about that earlier.
I just
conversation.
never really, being a kobold kind of blows.
Yeah.
I just never really felt comfortable being one.
Okay,
That's all.
spiraling from
You
that.
know?
What if you're a shell? Like
What?
a shell? Because like a soul in a body that's not theirs. Because like you wouldn't have a shadow because you're the soul, not the body.
Oh yeah, there's well,
Or
there's
like
there's several pieces of magic that would allow a soul to be removed from a body. I've never heard of that removing a shadow with it though.
well, I'm thinking it's like a representation of it, And don't take this the wrong way, because I'm not trying to say you're not a person. I'm trying to say like you're a beautiful soul, but we're trying to figure out this other thing, So like that's why I had the disclaimer. It's a thought. It's because, or like you're like a cocoon not a shell. And the butterfly is not who we think it is.
Make a nature check.
Not saying you're a caterpillar or anything.
You are just digging yourself a hole.
Make a nature check, Icarus.
That's an intelligence thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
13.
Not a
I have
great
a plus
theory.
2, 15.
You're
Not a
saying
great
that
theory.
out loud, and not a great theory. You're
So
sort
I
of
use
checking
my-
yourself on that.
Did I use my plus 2 for that or no?
No, I started saying
Okay.
it before you used the +2.
Okay.
The more that you talk, the more you realize, like,
Well, sometimes you gotta say things to figure them out, you know?
Yeah,
Oh,
different
exactly.
people get
Yeah.
to their conclusions
Yeah,
different
yeah.
ways.
for sure.
Um,
We're
as-
processing.
As my brother is stumbling over his words, I'm going to use his speech as a way to slowly like sink into a trance and reach out to see if the Moonweaver is nearby and willing to aid us in sorting out what is happening to our friend Ulta as the goddess of all shadows and trickery.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying trance. Do you mean like your long rest mechanic?
No,
M-
just
more
like
like a-
that's how she's praying. Like she's
Okay.
just kind of like letting her eyes roll into the back of her head and just like pray, think. But this is not like I'm gonna spend 4 hours doing this. It's just
Okay, yeah. So this is, we'll call it if prayer is too religious of a word, we might call it like meditation.
yeah,
But like with the intent of connecting with your
yep.
um,
With the intent of probing out into the world and trying to find my deity if
Right.
they're available.
So your deity has actually connected with you and one time like incorporeally manifested in front of you.
Correct.
So you've established connection in a couple of different instances, but you would not be a stranger to getting no response. So it wouldn't necessarily. Well, I guess I should stick to like not telling you how you feel, but it wouldn't come as a surprise that in this instance there is no response at the other end of that.
Okay, I'll leave a voice message.
Beep.
Love you.
You're like,
Hey,
hey,
it's Juno. Just
it's
checking
me,
in.
Juno. Say, my friend doesn't have a shadow. I'm kind of concerned. If you get a
Usually into
minute,
that. Call
I'd
me
love
back.
to learn more about shadows. Call me back. You know where I am.
Juno, question for you. Do you think shadows are more of a moon thing or a sun thing?
Well, it's light. It can be moon or sun.
Not that like I'm feeling like competitive or anything, but like why do you get shadows?
Well, because the sun is really bright and to the point where it blocks out a shadow's potential because there's too much light, whereas a moon isn't as bright and we appreciate the effect.
What
Plus,
I'm
we're
hearing
just a reflection of light. We're not actual light. We're
what
just
I'm
a
hearing
reflection.
is you're a shadow, which means you have potential, and I'm a shadow that's been murdered by too much light,
Yeah.
so I don't have potential.
EM, I would
Or at
just
least
like
less.
to confirm that science works the same here and that shadows are like our understanding of shadows rather than like
It would be
oh,
the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're not like
other
weird
than the
magical
whole,
things.
this is not necessarily related to shadows, but like the big difference is going to be like moon cycles have effects on creatures and not just like gravity and water anymore.
Right, but
but
like shadows are
shadows-
still caused by something blocking light from passing
Exactly.
through.
Yeah.
Had to get science side of the internet in to weigh in.
I don't know. Perhaps we could ask Leosin, for example. He seemed to be really researched, or at least went to Greenest for research, so maybe he knows more about that kind of thing.
You know, that's fair.
Or just in
Greenest
general.
isn't the height of research centers, though. Just gonna
Well,
say.
because-
But
have
my mom
those
is
from
nearby,
outside.
and
That's
she is
true. It's
far
been a
more
while.
connected to the Moonweaver, at least. We could also attempt to check in with mom at some point.
It has
She
been
might
a
have
while
it.
since I've seen your mom. That's true.
I don't know. I think this is
She's-
beyond us.
Ulta's gonna keep walking quickly away. As she is like getting more and more uncomfortable with being probed, and prodded at. She was like cool with it for a little bit. She's gonna be like, this is making me run. Now I'm concerned for myself, and she's just gonna start like moving a little quicker.
Fair
I'd like
and
to
valid.
take this moment to pull Juno inside and be like, why is she your mom? Just like start a sibling fight to distract from the unnervingness.
I'm sorry. She's our mom.
I'll take it. I like it. Let's use some more like comfortable terms, you know. Not everything's
She'll
a
just like
competition.
roll her eyes at like this conversation and just keep walking ahead. She's going to be staring at the space around. How long is the invisibility up for?
At least you
I
have
believe
a
that's
mom.
an hour.
Yeah, so she'll just kind of be watching the space around Ulta, but without trying to be like real creepy about her already creepy gaze. Like she's not trying to just deadpan at Ulta, just glancing every now and then to see if anything shifts.
After a few minutes of thought, I'll come back to Juno and be like, you're right, she did like you better. She's your mom.
It's okay. I mean, Dad liked you better, so.
Wait, did I miss something? Do you have different? Are you only half siblings? No, you're twins.
No,
we're twins.
Okay.
Yep. It's
that
just
you,
I
Noah.
am
It's just
my
women.
mom's child, and he is our
Oh,
dad's
okay.
child.
You know, Mom was always like that one that didn't have favorites, but she had favorites.
We've all seen that.
Good question. Did Juno talk about like the full vision to the rest of the group at this
Yeah.
point? Or okay,
Yeah,
like
everyone knows about everything.
Okay, and that's going in the back of my mind, but shadows.
I am worried about the necromancers. Do you two know anything
Yeah.
more about the
I second that.
necromancers, like from the Emerald Enclave?
Enclave?
that's just kind of
Do-
what they
do
sent
tell?
us to Greenest for. They don't really know either. They just heard about something.
Like there are
that might be
necromancers
happening.
in Greenest, or Greenest knows about the necromancers?
Just in case this may be an incomplete or like players possibly forgetting, I do want to iterate that the information you were given included a vague note about a faction of necromancers called the Red Wizards of Thay, working with a dragon cult,
Oh,
or
right.
the dragon cult, and a fear of potentially procuring undead dragons.
What? That's what this world needs more of.
Not actual information, but like a like.
Yeah, like there was
Here's
just
what
inkling. It was like
bad
there's
scenario.
something,
Yeah.
but
Undead Tina.
oh my god. I was like,
Sorry,
there's a mention.
sorry,
and it's
that was
long.
meant to
Oh,
be
yeah.
a brain thought. I did not mean for that to come out of
I
my.
didn't mean to think that thought out loud.
Like I'm literally like writing notes down, and I put Undead Tina, and I'm mildly embarrassed, but that feels on brand.
Please don't be. That made
It
me
is all
so
good.
happy.
Content.
That
What
made
if-
me so happy.
New theory. What if shadows aren't really a thing and we're the weird ones?
They're a thing.
Shadows are a thing.
It's science.
Oh my god.
It's also a gift,
the
so I would
philosophical
be
episode.
appreciative of restoring Ulta's gifts.
When a solid object blocks the light, there's a shadow. It's fact.
I'm just trying to spitball everything out here, okay?
It's also spiritual, not just fact.
Spiritual is a fact.
Thank you. And just kind of pepping my step as I continue.
Like,
I
obviously.
expected a couples argument there and I was not ready for it.
I am the most supportive, okay? Don't look for that here.
The most
You will
supportive
find
spouse.
none.
Also, like, you're really gonna think that I'm not gonna believe in spirituality when I had a deity attend my wedding? Like,
Oh yeah, and just like for the record, like
It is a
spirituality
fact.
in this world is very different from the
it is a fact.
shit world that we actually live in. Like the presence, I forget what the word was, but like the presence of multiple gods is like known fact
Yeah.
the different planes and their existence. It's known fact. Spirituality in this world is more along the lines of like, which god do you follow? Oh, this one's my homie. That sort of thing. It's not a matter of believing in or not believing in. It's just a matter of particular devotion or dedication or complete lack thereof.
Wild Mother signed my marriage certificate, all right? Like, that's a fact.
Yeah.
Not Wild Mother.
Sorry, not Wild Mother.
Moonweaver.
Moonweaver.
I like
Moonweaver.
nodded because I have the Wild Mother as a god in a different campaign, and
Yeah,
now yeah.
Too many adjective being terms all at once. Yeah.
Okay, so the shadow thing has you guys squirming quite a bit.
Thank you, yeah.
But at this point, there's, I think, nothing other than the like weird, glitchy, ethereal plane, almost shadow thing that Juno saw. Like, you're not really gleaning anything from this, at least yet. Are you going to explore it more, or are you? We can say you're getting close to Greenest if you want to be at that point.
Sure. Can
I don't want
just
to
do a
rush you
double
guys,
check?
but I did want to check in about what's happening.
I want to do one more thing, and that's just I would like to make sure that everyone else has the appropriate amount of shadows.
Yes, from the perception checks before, that
Like,
definitely
it's not
checks
just
out.
Ulta just hasn't like Ulta's shadow isn't attached to Aster for some reason or something.
Right.
Like,
Everybody
you know.
else has their own shadow.
Okay,
You
cool.
are all fully confident
Okay.
of that.
Sweet.
I'd like to run up to Aster. Aster, I think I could use some advice.
Sure.
You strike me as the very thoughtful type, right?
Okay.
Like, very good with thoughts and thinking things through beforehand. You know, like, Eliseo's very, like, book, like, intellectual, like, they've got really good and thought through opinions. I don't. How do you... Because I feel like I'm, like, more on, like, your wavelength of, like, you know, like, a more, like, realm of possibility than I think this is fact, you know? How should I sculpt my opinions more before I throw them out there?
I mean,
Or my ideas, I don't know.
I don't know. I just try to, I guess, think from multiple perspectives before, like, saying one perspective. You just kind of think from whatever angle you can to make your angle, you know, if that makes sense.
I think so.
Like, think about how we approached trying to solve the shadow problem, for example. Like,
Yeah, what do you think the answer is?
I don't know, and that's why we're asking for another opinion, because we have all formulated our angles into one thing that is still not very definitive.
I was just double checking to make sure you didn't like figure it out while we were all like rattling, you know.
That would
No,
be awesome.
I wish, but yeah, I think we should ask for help. That's probably the best answer for now. But yeah, I don't know. I think, yeah, just more a thought in general might be good. I mean, as much as we have appreciated your help finding information, you know, going out on your own and stuff, it's still really worrying sometimes, if that makes sense. Like, you know, for anything with the drakes, for example, you know, we were all kind of low on what we could do, so if things had gone really wrong, I don't know if we would have really been able to help. So, you know, as you know, you said welcome to the family, correct? When we were in Greenest, I don't know, I think about that a lot. But if we're a family and if we're a pack, maybe running into fire alone isn't really a good idea, if that makes sense.
Yeah. See, this is why it's good that I thought to ask you, because I was thinking about the just talking about ideas, and then that was like the really like more helpful version.
Well, yeah. I don't know. That's just what I think about a lot, just trying to be cohesive and be together. And I know Ulta's probably a little bit more uncomfortable with everything too. But yeah. Just for consideration. Again, like it was helpful. You found some really good stuff and it ended up being okay. But sometimes, you know, going forward and if things get more dangerous, it might not be okay.
Yeah. Sometimes it's kind of weird to know the heroism spell, because sometimes you really don't want to be a hero. Like the no fear, like the mechanic of no fear. Yeah, really great weather tonight. And then that's kind of like it, like him reflecting on really good thoughts, but also like, okay.
I don't know how to end a conversation.
That's fair.
I mean,
Aster doesn't
if you're
either.
actually
She
done
doesn't
and you
know
just
her.
want to say, all right, I think we're good, let's go back to Greenest, like we can just do that. But I don't want to like rush it. If you guys had more stuff you wanted to figure out or discuss.
No, that was kind of the end of Aster's thought in that conversation, at least.
Okay.
I'm good.
You do need to like slam us with bad tables now.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
that's
there's
right.
still effects that we don't know.
So
Was
like
there-
We could have just
we
not
should
brought it
scare
up and then got
Sorry.
No,
I would've
let's
felt
not
bad,
waste
'cause-
we shouldn't waste Mr. Rogers'
Yeah.
money.
Yeah, Mr. Rogers just really.
We should probably address that now, though, when we're out in the open and not around any potential NPCs we could hurt.
Like
Save
that-
the NPCs.
that one
Save the
couple, the
NPCs.
governor and the sergeant
Yeah.
or whatever.
The governor and the captain or whatever. I know their names. Hang
You
on.
cast Fireball at 9th level, centered on yourself.
That would
Aster,
kill us.
for the rest of this session, you now only talk in third person.
Oh,
Are you
no.
kidding?
In character, you
Are
only
you
talk in
kidding,
third
Aster?
person.
Oh, this is gonna be
The other
so
was
difficult.
Icarus. This is kind of abstract, so don't. I mean, just do your best.
Oh, no.
You start randomly, like at random times, talking about your past and commenting everything in weird ways, using
That's
terms
on
like madness, darkness, void, etc. as much as possible.
Oh,
So on brand.
wait, because it was on brand until I have to talk about darkness, because that's the complete opposite of my
That's true.
backstory. Sister, remember when we were playing and then I disappear and I ended up playing with the void?
What? The void. That's what you called it.
Yeah, like the darkness, you know, it found me.
It'll find us all.
Am I doing this right? I have no idea. I just
yeah, it's great.
I replaced
your
like the
mind
idea
is-
of sun with darkness.
Sure. Like your mind is totally, you're in full-fledged ADHD mode, and like everything is like
Hey.
the darkness is fascinating, and that's not a dig on ADHD. It's just a description of the personality shift now.
Yeah.
Wait,
I
isn't
mean,
that
it's accurate, and that's what makes it hurt.
I am so glad. After I am so glad we just had this like touching RP conversation before this happened.
I like to think that like at the end of that conversation I go, the madness comes for us all. And that's how we end it.
I'm so excited for us to talk to NPCs like this now.
No.
Oh boy.
I hate
Let's go
it.
Speaking
garner
of
some
which,
information.
Are we there, or are we?
Are we
Yeah.
there yet?
Yeah,
Are we
we can
there
do
yet?
Are we there
Okay,
yet?
so you would arrive at Greenest like at the break of dawn. You'd know that soon you'd be approaching physical exhaustion, or the risk of it, at least. It just to keep track of that, because you have been going through the night. We basically flipped night and daytime for you guys. But you are arriving at Greenest early in the morning. So we'll flip you back to that map as a reminder for everybody what it looks like.
We're home.
At this point,
Home is
you
where the
would
darkness
actually
is.
notice
Okay, Chris. Okay.
Oh.
I'll give your hand a nice firm squeeze now that you finally see my side of things.
It's gonna be the closest you ever get to
can't.
agreeing.
We just talked about how we were both light, and now we're talking about darkness, and you're like,
We are on this layer. Okay, you're entering the western side of town. So you're here. I think we can see that now. Yes, we can. Okay, awesome. So you're entering the side of town that you had left in the first place. At this point, you've noticed, even only after 2 days, the restoration effort has taken significant progress. There are several, like the larger buildings that Eliseo and Juno you'd recognize as like not residences, more like shops or workshops, that sort of thing, are still they still hold some scaffolding and makeshift walls, boarded up window area, boarded up windows. Jesus, words are hard apparently right now. That sort of thing. But the residences themselves seem to be pretty well fixed up from the outside, and almost completely. And for 2 days, that's like, whoa,
Really good.
That happened really fast. But you did notice on your way out that Governor Nighthill and Sergeant Markguth were pretty on point with planning what's next, and coordinating people. So it seems that effort has been very fruitful.
They make a good team. Look at that. Such good partners. I'm
yeah,
done.
the madness between them. It's found them like it finds us all. I'm trying, guys. I don't know.
No, that's great.
Oh, it's amazing.
Juno will pull her brother in and be like, "You're not okay, are you?"
I don't know. I feel it there. It's always been there.
Okay.
Feel what? Aster doesn't feel anything. And when she says that, she's just gonna be like,
As soon
Yeah.
as
Weird.
Ulta hears Aster speaking, like, to herself like that, Ulta's eyes are gonna go wide, and she's just gonna be beyond freaked. Just, no, man, not with the shadow thing, and now he's talking about spooky fucking darkness, and here you come in. Like, Ulta's just gonna be
it's
more
all
and more,
happening.
just getting, like, more and more anxious with this group. Like, everything's just getting more and more fucky to her, and she's like, can we just take
Okay, so I'm gonna interject
yeah.
here. I'm gonna interject here because I'm realizing, as RP heavy as this episode is and is going to continue to be, maybe like continually talking about the darkness and the void for no in-game reason might be a little too much. So I'm Icarus, I'm gonna switch your affliction here to
Yeah,
video.
the light's been there since I was a kid.
Don't
Yeah, I've always been joyful.
instead of everything is dying, you're gonna have a compulsion to feed everyone and everything that you see with
good.
whatever is available, but that is edible.
I was about to start feeding Aster bricks.
Right.
No.
It has to be edible. But like you just have this compulsion, like you gotta feed everybody.
Suddenly, you're the hostess.
Yeah, Juno, just let me know where you guys are headed. I think I'm gonna stop at the house and prepare some snacks.
I was gonna say,
We've
how
been on the
about
road
you
for a long
just-
time.
You just all can go rest. Go start sleeping. I will find the governor and see if we can find Leosin before
Oh,
he heads out of town.
you want to bring him by the house? I can cook dinner.
Sure.
Yep.
Hey,
sounds
you know
great.
what? Icarus, we didn't get to repair our house and kitchen supplies, so if you want to just head to the market and you can buy the food for dinner, that'd be great. And I just like pat him on the shoulder there.
Yep. I really want to cook, so I'll do it.
Yeah. You stock my kitchen.
There it is.
Yep. Anyways,
New daytime
yeah.
music. Okay.
hooray!
That's so pretty.
But we wanted to try and catch Leosin before he left for Altar Call.
Excuse
Altar
me,
here.
where?
Elturel?
Elturel?
Elturel, yes.
Elturel.
Look, I'm doing it to towns now too.
Wait,
It's
is
not-
that Elpurel? Was that what you said?
No, I said Altar Call.
Oh. Kind of like Purell. Elpurel. The
I mean,
Purell.
that's too close to Lysol.
Okay. That's good.
This
That's
is a
good
very
point.
sanitary campaign.
Yeah.
The city of gold. There it is.
Yep.
So anyways, we wanted to catch Lysol before I went to El Dorado.
Jesus
So-
fucking Christ.
He's going to kill us all, guys.
Look, only murder me for this. I've done this to myself.
You have done this to yourself.
I have done this to myself. Anyways, we wanted to catch him before he left. He was gonna stay in Greenest for like a hot second and then go.
With that
Yes.
gay
Up
couple that
north,
runs the town,
right?
right?
And so we were gonna try and catch him at Greenest before he left, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So,
Okay. So
I feel like that would be our most urgent conversation, and then
I would
Governor
try and
and-
go find them.
Esther thinks so too.
Yeah.
so
I would send the rest of the group to the house to like rest up if they wanted to, and then I would just go look. I would like, if y'all want to come, you can, but if you want to sleep, the house is open.
right.
I'd
so
prefer to
Eliseo-
come.
Eliseo and Juno, before anyone makes decisions, you would know that the best first place to look would be the keep, because that's where their daily like work and operations would happen.
That's number one, correct?
Number two, right. The second one would be the estate to the north.
Yeah, we're their neighbors.
Right. If
Yeah.
they were not at the keep.
Well, what if we all just go to the keep together, and then we can make our way back home potentially if there is someone at the governor's manor.
Yeah.
I'm just a bit wary about splitting the group so early after everything we just went through. And I think we all
For
have
sure.
different kind of accounts of what happened. I feel like we make a clearer picture together than just sending one of us.
For sure.
I mean, Eliseo, you remember the what I told you they were saying, right? Because I gotta go to the market, you know?
I mean, my notes maybe have what you said.
Yeah, I'm sure you remember. You have a good memory, and I'm gonna head off to the market to get food.
Okay. If you see him there, tell him to come back to the house with us. Like,
Got it!
Yep. Just keep an eye out. Yeah, cool. I guess we just go look for people, bring them back to our house, and then get weird with, you know.
All right. So
On
we have. Is it the four of you
Where's-
going to the keep and then just Icarus heading to the market, or is there another split?
Think we're all going to.
It's all up
the
to
keep?
y'all.
Let's all go to the keep.
Let's all go to the
Heck yeah.
keep.
Okay. That's all of you except Icarus, who's way over here.
Spend all your money.
Oh, whoops.
Have fun.
That's too far. This is the market.
Which one? Oh, yes. So, like, we're not far. That's okay.
Nah. It's given the right line of sight at the right time, you'd be able to still see each other. So we'll start with the group at the keep. Juno and Eliseo, you would notice the big front double doors of the keep drawn open, which is usual for day-to-day operations under normal circumstances. And you can see the usual bustle of people sort of flittering back and forth between the sides as you approach, as well as inside and outside the small tower itself. It's a little bit more activity than normal. And on the way in here, you can all also notice the continued like rebuilding restoration efforts that are in progress around the town.
All right, that's cool.
Upon walking in, question mark?
Yeah.
Yes.
You would almost immediately notice Sergeant Markguth and Governor Nighthill at their usual sort of coordinating at like a central, I guess I'll just call it a table out in this courtyard with several groups of militia and townsfolk and families that are flittering in and out of this area.
I would walk straight up to the governor because that's who I know had contact with Leosin prior anyways. So
As soon as the governor sees you, he's going to like completely stop with the people around him and look at you like, thank gods you've made it. And then Sergeant Markguth shoots his gaze to you guys too, and they both have this look of is a mix of relief and almost surprise at the same time.
Is that a shock to you?
You didn't come back at the time we discussed. We thought the worst. After Leosin came through, we expected you to be close behind, but
Is he still here?
oh yes, your plan. He left earlier than you intended. He said they were planning to meet you here, but he found out more than he intended, so they needed to leave right then and there. Wait, the horses. Did you get the horses? And he's signaling to a couple of guys, a couple of guards in the back. And they would immediately like come to attention and nod and go into the tower behind them. Opening a couple doors, they would bring out, they would usher out a pair of large horses drawing a cart. He said you would likely need this, so he took care of the costs for you.
That was very nice of him. Did he say anything else?
He told me quite a bit. It seems we should reconcile the events of the last few days and what we've learned. Please come inside.
Personal preference. Mainly because my brother isn't here right now. He's actually making dinner. Would we be able to have this over a meal at our house? Or do we want to do it out here in public in front of everyone?
We should go behind closed doors so as to not cause panic. But we do have a small amount of time.
We have been traveling through the night as well, so a short time to rest would probably be good for all of us as well.
Why, yes,
So-
of course. I can imagine you've been through quite a bit if you're almost a day late. I'll save my questions for later. We'll meet you at the estate, yes?
You're familiar with our door, so
Wait, your estate or ours?
Theirs.
Theirs. Okay.
Or his. Sorry.
nope.
His.
You
It is
said
not theirs.
You said it's theirs. You said it's theirs. You said it's theirs.
Clip it, chat.
It's canon.
Well,
Anyways,
they're really already gone?
Yes. It seems that Leosin's findings were worse than he had anticipated. And as he's saying this, he's sort of like shifting his eyes around to make sure nobody's too close. He's going to almost a whisper. He went back to Elturel early to get back in contact with one of the other factions, which it sounds like you need to learn more about as well.
Indeed. Well, we'll be at our house. I guess just give us a knock on the door when you're on your way home and we'll join you.
Of course. Let's jump over to Icarus. What's going on over here in the market?
Okay, are all the stalls up? I mean, I'm assuming it's a decent time of day to go shopping since I'm
Yeah,
shopping.
it's gonna be fresh time.
So all but maybe one or two. It's an odd sort of market that you wouldn't be quite used to. There's a mix of these buildings, right? But also a couple of like makeshift stands in front of about half of them, like produce stands sort of thing.
Okay.
And like one produce stand, one with like a couple of cuts of meat hanging from the top of like a banister.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
So-
And then another with like breads and pastries.
Yeah, what I'm thinking is because we have, the governor, we're having a fancy dinner because we have like fancy people coming. We have to impress. So I'm thinking a nice roast, like a good cut of meat, and I'm gonna get some vegetables to roast with it, and then I want some like flour, eggs, and sugar. I'm gonna try to make a cake too to celebrate the occasion.
Full set
If
on
I-
the meal. Hey, come over.
If
cook for
if I
me.
can have
Holy
that.
crap.
Well, that's only like two things, but they're kind of like both have things together because there's vegetables in the roast.
Okay.
I don't know any dietary restrictions at the moment, so I'm just gonna full send.
All right. I like it. So
I'm so glad I took advantage of this.
the total cost of everything you would have, I will say you would have as brief as you would like, or as not brief as you would like, but pleasant interactions with everyone. At these various stands, you would have to go to at least 3, between the produce, the meat, the stuff for bread, maybe some spices. You probably have to go to 3 or 4 different stands and talk to 3 or 4 different people.
Worth it.
They're all in an unexpectedly pleasant mood, given the events of 3 days ago. That the entire town was like raided and ransacked. So the aura around you is positive and productive and pleasant. The total cost of everything that you would be getting, we're gonna say, is about 6 silver pieces.
Okay.
Yeah, that looks about right.
Okay, let me mark that off. And I'm just gonna spend like a gold tipping everyone.
Okay. And in
Yeah.
response to that, all of them would be absolutely elated and extremely thankful to you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad to see everything's coming well from the recovery. Yeah, everything looks moving well. I'm just gonna be like, just subtle conversation, nice. And also, if anyone upcharged me a little bit, I wouldn't notice. I'm from out of town.
Okay.
And then I'm just gonna head straight back to the house and start preparing.
Okay. Yes, Sniffer.
Lysol said we were almost a day late. Or over a day late, rather.
That wasn't
Lysol?
Lysol.
Or not-
Lysol's gone.
no, but, like-
the governor.
The governor said Lysol said we were coming right behind him. We were almost a day late. Does this recovery seem like unnaturally fast in like, is it the correct day? Did we do a time skip? Like, it didn't seem like we had a full day behind Leosin.
I mean, we spent the
we
long
took a
rest
long
in there,
rest.
and we spent a few hours in the cave.
Yeah, it's 8 to 10
Okay.
hours.
Okay.
with
traveling
another long
back,
rest in
too.
between.
yeah.
So
Okay.
you can make. Are you thinking like maybe magically enhanced recovery, or what are you thinking with that
Yeah.
question?
Like, is it suspicious that they've made this much progress? I could
Okay.
just ask a guard what day they think it is.
you could also make an insight check or both, whatever.
Yeah.
Or whatever you choose.
Yeah.
That wasn't
I'm
meant
just
to be a dismissive whatever.
No, you're fine. I'm just trying to think like I trust literally nothing anymore. People don't have shadows. How do I know? Yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess I want to do an insight check. I want to see, like, does this seem like too fast a recovery? Like, why is this?
Sure.
Why is everyone so happy?
I'm actually going to say insight or perception. Your choice.
It's the same. So 17.
No, you're feeling like while your worries may be justified given the events of the last couple days, what you're witnessing is most likely you're pretty confident it's most likely just a really good collaborative effort of a lot of people.
Okay. I trust no one and nothing anymore. My life is a lie.
I feel like I was missing something. Did somebody else ask something? I'm sorry.
I just have a logistical question. Did we agree to come back a certain day or just a day late behind Leosin?
So there is about a half day actually difference between the time that you had originally talked with Leosin and what actually happened.
Okay.
There was like almost a long rest in between there that you weren't planning on that you did have.
Because in the conversation, I thought I heard like we agreed we'll be back this day to report, and then we were behind our own schedule, and I was like, I don't remember agreeing to that.
Oh, I see. Okay, I think
so
I'm
that's why I was
wording
confused.
things kind of poorly. So you are slightly behind the generality that you lobbed out.
Okay.
A day late is poor wording on my part. Leosin has left earlier than he said he would. You're also here slightly later than you said you would, but you wouldn't get the feeling that you're like late enough that you missed him from the intended timeline.
Okay.
He did leave earlier than anticipated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ultimately, from the way I understood it was that our timeline was just going to possibly collect somebody and then immediately returning. So they were kind of expecting us fairly quick back. So it would be like that 12 to however many hours behind the normal time because of the long rest.
Exactly.
But that's what I'm
Leosin,
assuming he thinks.
Yeah, Leosin didn't anticipate. He didn't know what to anticipate from you guys going into the cave. They did know that you guys were going into the cave to check things out, but that took in game. It took a much longer time than I guess he would have assumed. But at the same time, even if it didn't, you would get a sense of like from what the governor and sergeant are telling you, Leosin left in a hurry. Either way.
Also, this is just a little bit me being a time wizard and me really wanting to find something wrong with time.
Okay, so Icarus, you're back at the house, yes?
Yes.
Working on foods and
I have prestidigitation to clean up, and I'm gonna so it looks presentable, and I'm gonna start cooking as well.
You'd find on your way in that the house is in a better state than it was when you left. The rest of you, are you doing or talking about anything else before heading back?
If we're gonna have the conversation later on, I don't think Aster would have anything to say.
When they get back to the house, Juno will give Ulta a once-over and just be like, I don't think you're cursed, but just in case, would you mind if I attempted to remove a curse? If nothing's there, nothing happens. But if it is a curse, maybe we get your shadow back. I don't know. I have the ability to do it, but I don't think it'll harm you in any way.
She is just going to like fully exasperated from all of the various attempts at just yeah, go ahead. Just do it, yeah.
Alright, I cast Remove Curse. I don't feel like it's a curse though, so I don't know.
I mean,
I'm
it's
just
worth a shot. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm
either.
trying. I'm trying to do cleric things.
So Juno, similar to the like effects of spells that require saves and you would know if a creature attempted to save or not sort of thing, I'm gonna stay consistent with that and say that you would know if your remove curse actually did anything. In this case, it does not.
Okay. I didn't think it would, but I also saw that you were kind of anxious earlier and I wanted to do like anything I could in my power to help. But we should probably help Icarus make food because I don't know that he knows how to cook.
I walk out of the kitchen with a big teapot. Spring tea, anyone?
You know, I just got very excited that he was gonna buy all the food that I forgot to think about if he could cook or not. That's a good
Icarus,
thought.
did you learn how to cook? Did Dad teach you that?
I think so.
Okay, because Mom didn't teach me.
Yeah, Ulta's just gonna sit down like the same way that she did the first time she was at the house and open up a small caddy of, like, on her hip. She has a teacup and a saucer that she carries with her, and she's going to sit down, and if you have offered tea, she is going to take it, and she's just going to close her eyes, just very concerned about herself and everything happening. Just like every time she gets to this house for some reason, she's just very exhausted.
Icarus is gonna smile. He's gonna say, "Cups up, everybody," and he's gonna start pouring.
Awesome.
Yeah, another thing Aster is gonna do, she's just gonna druid craft some herbs to use as a garnish for the meal too, because why not?
Yeah,
the thing
hell
she
yeah.
does.
Heck yeah.
Can I do anything cool for dinner? Probably not. Nope. Oh, I can guide you with cooking.
We're gonna need that.
Just kind of like hover over your shoulder in the kitchen.
Yeah,
be like,
and I can charm you guys to make you think you like it. We don't need this.
I'm trying to help.
I can use prestidigitation to flavor the meal if you end up like not putting enough.
Okay, I think I'll do fine, guys. Come
Okay.
on.
I'm only trying to help. The governor's coming to our house.
Governor is coming for dinner. It needs to be perfect.
I'm not
also-
gonna make you do a skill check for cooking. Like, the intent is there, and you thought it out. So I'm gonna.
Also, by the time you guys have gotten there, I have a bright pink apron on.
Where did you get that?
Found it. It says "Kiss the Cook."
Okay, well, it's not mine, and it's not hers.
Are you sure?
Maybe I packed it.
I definitely don't have an apron that says "Kiss the Cook."
I definitely do not either.
This is just the surprise talent of 200 years that my brother has been keeping from me.
I will go pull out like cozy blankets and stuff and just like offer Ulta one if she wants, and then probably just everyone else just to make sure they're comfortable and stuff. I don't have to cook, so I'll make sure people are feeling cozy instead.
Yeah, I mean, she'll snuggle up in a blanket and sit there and drink some tea. She's not opposed. She's just feeling a lot of feelings right now, so.
Apparently a cat makes its way in from outside and snuggles up.
As it should.
Yes. Completes the scene.
Good thing I bought cream.
So, the Icarus before, we'll say that the baking maybe ended up. You would have known that the baking would have taken more time to start setting up than the cooking itself.
Yeah.
And if the rest of the crew is going through an attempted long rest before your guests arrive, then it would be an appropriate time to start with some of that and sort of time out the rest for a few hours from now. So for the rest of you, if you were intending to actually take a rest, you would know that you'd been given ample time by the governor and sergeant to do so. Or you can stay awake and continue discussing, figuring out, planning, working on anything else. But you are at the point that we would have to check for exhaustion if you are to stay awake and active.
I think Aster would sleep. She's down for that.
Ulta would absolutely sleep as well.
Okay.
You two can take the bed if you want.
Icarus, we would need to roll a Constitution check, please. Wait, is it a save or a check? Wow. Surprised.
I think it's a
You're
con
saving
save?
against
I think it's a
exhaustion.
save.
Yeah,
Oh,
I feel like
yes.
It's a save.
Yeah, con
I
save.
rolled a 19, which will
Okay.
be plus. Save is 3, so 21. 22.
You're feeling pretty tired, but you're safe from technical exhaustion for now.
The void doesn't feel. No, I'm kidding.
Eliseo, were you resting or staying up? Resting. Sorry, I caught you
I
just
would-
as you were eating.
Yeah, thank you. This is what I get for eating on stream. Eliseo would make sure that everyone else is settled first and like make sure that Alta and Aster have taken their bed and are like asleep before they would sit in a chair that they can see the kitchen from.
Okay.
Just in case anything might go wrong in the kitchen. I'm not saying it will, but if it does.
No faith.
It's my kitchen, okay?
It's already been
Alright.
wrecked. It's fine.
Yeah.
So for this,
And then I'll sleep.
yeah. So for the sake of not being facetious, you all experience the benefits of a long rest. For time's sake, it'll be shorter than usual. More along the lines of like 6 hours rather than 8. But it's comfortable. It's in
Yeah.
a safe place, so it happens a little bit more efficiently and quickly than it normally would. So you're coming into what is now like the early afternoon. And Icarus, you have been busy in the kitchen. And for the rest of you, it smells divine.
Can I just like during the time like while I'm waiting for it to bake,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna sit on the counter and I'm gonna pull out my golden lyre and I'm just gonna pluck a few strings and kind of like be thinking, and I'm gonna think about like not like comparative, well, not like competitive, but like I'm almost thinking comparatively, and I'm gonna be like, do I have potential? What is it? What does it mean too? And like, everyone has gifts, but like, where do they come from? What do they? And I'm just kind of, just a tad reflective. But then I'm assuming like my in my mind timer's going off like, oh shoot, I need to check it, and then I catch it just in time.
Okay. Mark 1 skill point toward your song crafting.
I forgot that was a thing.
Nice work.
Really good at this. Okay, so I think I'm at 16 now. Actually, I didn't actually expect to get anything there.
Yeah, I'll be doing those. So on top of like when you tell me I want to work on this skill, those will be like obviously we're working toward points in that. But then it's sometimes kind of like inspiration when you're doing something in a role playing mode. We'll just give some points around in those areas as well. Okay, so yeah, everybody's up now.
Oh.
With dinner like well on its way / almost done, and the governor and sergeant arrive. Have we taken 2 breaks already?
No, just the
No,
one.
just the one.
Just the one? Okay, so yeah, this is a perfect opportunity, I think, to take another quick break before we start that full conversation with those two, if that's okay with you guys.
Sure.
Back with Governor Nighthill and Sergeant Markguth arriving at Juno and Eliseo's home in Greenest, ready to discuss the developments of the last 2-ish in-game days. We did have a request to bring up the area map again because it sounds like that's going to be a point of discussion. So let's flip to that. We are still in this house with the whole group, but we'll flip to this view
Yay.
and focus the group, I guess, here.
So did you say they just knocked on our door?
Yes.
Eliseo, Juno, honey, will you guys grab the teapot and the roast? I got the cake.
Yep.
I might be just a minute behind.
You're golden. This is perfect. Thank you.
Is there anything Astra can help with?
I I'm sure they have plates and stuff. I think I made it pretty simple, only a few dishes, so.
Okay.
I will open the door for our guests to come in, but also we said we might be going to their place, so I'll be like,
Yeah.
we're about
Sharing
to
the
have
food.
dinner. Do you care to stay for dinner here and we discuss here, or would you prefer us bringing our dinner with to the keep?
Well, we've brought work with us, so either option works, and it smells wonderful in here, so
Come
if you
on
don't
in.
mind, we should
Here's
sit here.
great. I'll just scooch more chairs up to the table.
Our small table for two that is now fitting 7.
Yep.
We're gonna make it
There's a bit
work.
of a squeeze at this point because this house was originally intended for just the two of you. But you're able to make words. You're able to make it
Yeah.
work,
We make it work.
for lack of a more elegant phrase on my part. Like I said, bit of a squeeze, but everybody's fitting in. You would notice that the governor has a couple of papers sort of like tucked under his arm, like he's ready to get down to business. But they both sort of like set themselves down on a couple of chairs that are off to the side, and like await Icarus is ready because they can see he's like the busy bee running around at the moment.
Yep.
I'll like clear off my desk so we can use it as an extra table and stuff.
Plates are out. Entrees on the table. I'm about to put the cake down. It's going in the center of the table, but I'm saying, remember, eat your meal first, and I will smack any hand that reaches for it.
Fair enough.
And also, as my normal charismatic but reading too much into things self, I am going to look for wedding rings on fingers.
Oh man, make an investigation check.
Oh shit. 18 plus 0 plus 2, 20. I'm using my plus 2.
The best use.
The governor does have a wedding band on. Sergeant does not.
He's cheating?
Only on your assumptions, sir.
Governor, wedding, band, sergeant.
Ship crashed. Oh no.
Okay.
Thanks. Good. Yeah. Good. Great.
Campaign's
Not
over.
crying
The gay
inside.
marriage we wanted didn't happen.
Hasn't happened. The campaign is young.
Maybe they just don't wear them at work. Or like they can't both wear it because it looks suspicious, you know?
I'm pretty sure the governor has like mentioned his wife, hasn't he?
I'm gonna look at them and say, I know you're working, but eat up before it gets cold, please.
They'll dig right in.
God, the sass.
Okay. I'm living for this. This is so good.
Housewife
as they're
Icarus.
chewing with like mouths half full, they're kind of in this mix of trying to be polite but also like get down to business at the same time and say, we were surprised that you came in as healthy looking as you did. Leosin mentioned a cave with some dangerous people. The half dragon that attacked us too. Did you find them there?
Vanquished.
We did.
We definitely found them amongst other very scary and dubious things. We also encountered something far beyond us as well within the cave. I believe a deity may have shown up at one point.
Or
Yeah,
Aster
that
thinks
was
maybe
something she
a
knew.
agent of Sylvanas, not Sylvanas themselves.
When you mention that, they're both going to like stop mid scoop of the meat and vegetables that's been served to them and like, whoa, an agent of Sylvanas? And they'll say that name as if they're familiar with it.
Sergeant, please don't avoid the carrots. They're good for your eyes.
Oh, of course. Starts going for it.
Yes, we were just as shocked as you were. This is we had, at least to our knowledge, won the fight against Cyanwrath and
I just want to say
Purple Man.
Frulam.
I don't know if you've heard of Frulam, but another person in their league. Just when we had finished the battle, we thought this agent appeared and led us to a hatchery of sorts. They had dragon eggs in that cave.
Dragon eggs?
Yes.
Leosin did not mention eggs,
And
he's going
Aster
to be
doesn't
scribbling
think,
in his notes.
Aster doesn't think that they know. That was pretty classified information, even in the league of this cult here. Yeah, they led us to these dragon eggs and basically promised that since these things had not committed any sins, as being unborn as they were, kind of forgave them and then vanished with all 3 of the eggs.
As you're saying this last couple of sentences, like they went from like with you, kind of surprised, they responded to the mention of Sylvanas, but then you started going into like what this entity said to you, and then they get this look of confusion, like, whoa, wait, what?
Thank you, Lionhead Gaming.
Oh,
for
hey,
the-
Lionhead, thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you for sending us your community. Hi, everybody.
Feels so good.
So yes, the you're even before you might decide to like insight check or anything, you'd get this vibe that you're kind of losing them in the details a little bit.
Yeah, it was just as puzzling as to us as to you. The agent said we had potential, potential of some sort, I guess, to make everything right that the cult is undoing, which is a lot.
So the cult activity in this cave was to grow more dragons?
I think so. Yeah, Aster thinks so. Yeah. I'm catching myself. It's hard. This is very difficult.
You're wonderful.
Yeah, they were also training a pit of drakes there. There were some kobolds that seemingly just kind of always stayed there, but we freed those drakes.
The sergeant would chime in at like they're both vigorously taking notes as you guys are talking, and like shuffling from one paper to another, and he'd mention at this point, yes, the Leosin did mention trained beasts. It seems that the organization of this raiding party is far more than we had expected. Although I suppose we shouldn't be surprised at after how thoroughly they ransacked our town.
We should show the map that we found as well, just to kind of show the path that they might be heading.
Okay, so that is the map on the screen now. Chat, I'm realizing that these lines might not be the greatest, so I'm actually going to redo it in a darker color.
Make them pink.
Okay.
Yay.
Scoot you guys to on Greenest now.
Oh wait, I can be pink.
I do it. I do it myself.
There you go.
Do it.
I forget where the rest of the lines are.
I'll do the rest. It's all good.
Okay, thank you.
You did great, though.
Yay!
Went through here. Yeah. Okay, So this map is going to evolve over time. Everything that you see on the map right now is a combination of what you knew from before your adventure started, as well as the map that you had seen from Frulam's desk. And it's going to continue to get more stuff on it as you explore, go different places, all that jazz. So for now, we just need to understand that the pink markings are the most important part of what you guys found from the maps on the desk. And you know for sure that it represents the path that this particular raiding party had taken. Cool?
And we think that
Cool.
they're returning back using the same path.
No.
No?
You know for sure that this is not a return path, it is a
Okay.
future path.
Okay. That.
Yeah.
That's the path they're taking.
We'll draw arrowheads on these things.
Yay.
You know they are going that direction. You
Okay, good.
don't have a good
good.
sense of where they came from necessarily. You know that this is where they are intending to go.
Where did it come from? Where did it go? I'm done.
I was talking and muted.
Oh.
I was
Hey,
like
how we
in
doing?
roleplay. I was in roleplay too. I was so upset.
Buddy.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, we saw the majority of the troops. They moved out, so like leaving the camp, like just as we got there, and we did help clear out a little bit. They're down some drakes and definitely those eggs. We've defeated one of the bosses the first time, but we don't know what happened with that. They just kind of disappeared.
They disappeared.
Wait,
Yeah, they
clean off your
disappeared.
plate. Finish that up. No cake.
They disappeared, and also there was this strange caster of some sort with a very large fish that also disappeared. It was.
Yeah. That was odd.
I don't know what's happening.
Maybe it
Asher
was a
doesn't know what's
dragonfish.
Definitely some sort of eldritch creature.
I wouldn't know what to make of that.
Doesn't seem related, but still significant.
So metagamey.
Listen, it happened.
In a fun way.
It's canon.
Worth noting.
It is canon.
I think we should specify that the only thing we believe is still there is a small group of winged kobolds that were still in the cave. Everyone else seems to have moved out.
They
Or-
were.
Well, if
You had heard messages, right, about they were going to just be left as like the final defense of the hatchery, but everyone else had to leave then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
That's what
Yeah.
you had heard in
Yeah.
character.
Yeah.
So just
Go ahead.
sorry, I was just saying like just so you guys know what's still around here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We're just trying
How-
to keep them updated.
About how many of these winged kobolds would you say?
Well, enough to be knocked out by 2 sleep spells.
Give me
About a
one.
dozen
Give
or
me
so,
one
maybe?
second.
It's a very LSAO answer.
Yeah,
What?
somewhere around a dozen. Aster thinks.
Such a thing should be
It's-
manageable by the guard if
Say that
necessary. And everyone
Mm.
else has left, you say?
They
To our
burned their own
knowledge.
tents
Mhm.
before they left.
I see.
Is that significant in any way? It's not something.
Only
Usually-
in the sense of continued safety of the town moving forward. It seems that your observations check out with Leosin's information from the time that he had left. And I feel confident that we can defend against such a group should they be foolish enough to come here again just by themselves.
Mm.
So, and they're both, continuing to write vigorously notes as they continue discussing with you.
One thing we've kind of noticed as well is that when you pull like any of the soldiers or cultists or kobolds aside, without the leaders, they don't seem to be aggressive. We've talked to some kobolds, we've talked to some cultists that were very willing to step out of the ranks. So without being led in a charge, I don't think they might not even be a threat without any direction.
Yes,
So these kobolds might just cut off.
It does seem that the pull of the half dragon and this, and he's gonna check his notes and say,
Purple mad.
Shadow warrior.
Oh,
That
what?
sounds
Much
more
What did you
accurate.
call her?
It's a
Had
much
quite a
cooler
pull
name.
on the larger group. Leosin mentioned this person disappearing and reappearing nearby.
That
I'm gonna
is
look over
How would he
at-
know?
things she was able to do. Well,
Well, he was captured, so he might have
Purple
fought
Man
her.
Oh,
was with the group, yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
and interrogating the prisoners when we first showed up.
I'm gonna like immediately look over at Ulta. Ulta, did she hit you?
Yeah.
So maybe it was something there. I didn't realize that.
What if she took your shadow?
Then we're gonna get it back.
All right.
We're gonna go rescue your shadow.
Stealing is rude. And like house husband Icarus immediately turns to, how could you?
Yeah, Ulta is now thinking about that entire fight, and there were like a couple, like, they think there were like 2 hits that she got on me moving towards him.
Make an Arcana check.
I'm so not happy with them.
14 total.
After the discussion that you all had about potential magic that could manipulate people's shadows, or like the natural shadows that are created from obstructing light, that sort of thing, it's a thought that makes sense in the moment, but you thinking back to that fight, you didn't feel anything, you didn't experience anything in or out of body that, like, it's a stretch, maybe plausible, but you wouldn't have any sort of like tangible evidence that that was necessarily the case.
Okay, fine, I will mentally drop it, but Ulta is not.
Cake, anyone?
Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna just sheet cake it and just like start stress eating cake as I'm like trying to sort out.
Oh, I'm
Like-
imagining wide-eyed Juno just like shoveling it in.
Yep.
No, this
Ulta,
this
Like
yes,
was like
same.
picking at dinner up until this point, and then all of a sudden just stress cake.
and I should elaborate. This is a white or yellow cake, if you'd like to call it, with golden like gilding around it. Like I like colored it so it looks like a little like sun rays coming off the edge of it.
We're using vocabulary words today. The word of the day is gilded, brought to you by TPK Roleplay.
And D&D Beyond.
Love it.
How does that work?
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, Ulta is also stress eating cake and probably heavily drinking tea, wishing that it was some sort of alcoholic beverage.
Heavily drinking, period.
I'll just
Okay.
like I'll pull a little decanter off my side and like, do you want a hit?
Yes,
I'll just pour a little whiskey in her tea.
and she will be very grateful.
I think
Awesome.
Eliseo also has notes out and is like scribbling almost at the same pace as the governor and the sergeant with like the new connections of possibly the shadow fighter person.
Okay.
I want to be a shadow fighter.
Yeah.
Too late.
Oh, and as a reminder, Corndog, you noticed immediately at it was very early in the encounter. You would have absolutely recognized a spiritual weapon coming from Frulam
Yep, I remember
during
that.
that fight.
Our
Yep.
weird argument.
Which
of
is
whether
why
it
I
was real
feel
or not.
like this is some cleric bitch,
Right.
and I'm mad. I'm mad that
Shadow
she's stealing my look. Like, ugh, she looks so spooky and scary, and I'm just not.
At this point, the governor would chime in and say, we should reconcile the notes for you that Leosin left for us.
Yes, please.
Absolutely.
Yeah, information would be good.
We mentioned to you that he had arrived within just a couple of days of the raid itself. And he came with news that he had been tracking the movements and activity of the cult overall. He did not mention a singular raiding party, but he came with news of confidence that the next raid in a series that I believe you had heard about was to happen here next, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Tracks.
That's correct.
Seems he was correct, and we were not prepared enough. During the raid, he was captured. He was here with his apprentice, Nessim.
Mm-hmm.
But he's told us in confidence that he intentionally did not tell Nessim of his plans. He let himself become captured. He actually first tried to impersonate the cultist, but his capture was a fallback, and it worked. He was also the person who tipped off your informants. All of you. It seems that he holds either high position or high trust, if not both, within the Harpers Association. And those contacts went directly to you. To meet here, I only wish you had gotten here sooner. He had also learned that these raids along the coast are indeed much more organized and with many more troops than the cult would normally have. There is a spike in activity with the intent of raising a horde for Tiamat herself. Under normal circumstances, we would laugh off such a claim to bring a virtual god here. But it seems they are very serious about their intentions and their follow-through.
That's not a new goal of theirs. That's what they've always wanted.
It is indeed, but it seems for the first time in history they may be capable. Or at least they're serious enough to organize in a much better way than they have at any time in history.
We saw they have a dragon. This could be in reach.
But why raid Greenest? What was here? What was worthwhile?
Enough
Do they
treasure
have
to
anything?
contribute. We never had anything of any particular item of substantial value.
I would like to insight check that.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I was trying to get there.
Oh.
It's the 17.
Yep, you have a good sense, having spent significant amount of time with these two in the weeks leading up to the raid. It feels like an honest statement. We don't have any individual item of particular value here. However, as a growing town, we have become more prevalent on the local map. And if these raids are as frequent as they seem, I have unfortunate confidence that they can amass a treasure hoard that at least they would feel is adequate. Icarus?
Sorry, that's a force of habit, honestly, on my part.
No worries.
So,
You're such a teacher.
I know not all my ideas are good, and this one starts from a very base assumption.
They say hi,
But
Michelle. Yeah.
Hi, Michelle.
Sorry,
I
Hyacinth, go ahead.
there are ways that our goal is to slow and stop the summoning or raising of Tiamat. They're searching for hordes for treasure. Cutting off their flow of treasure might be the most direct, slow, or at least the easiest to access without having to take on big fights or slay dragons or to bite off more than we can chew. So even just small attacks or like stealing from the stolen might slow down their progress, if that makes sense.
An astute observation, however, it seems we are late in our insight.
Yeah.
And Leosin's warnings throughout the last several months have been all but ignored.
But now, like, we've seen this, we've had proof. Do we have the ability to send messages, and Juno will, like, kind of reach across the table with a little bit of cake on her hands, dripping on the map a little bit. But do we have the ability to send messages to cities along the coastway?
Yeah.
Because it looks like that's the direction they're going. And if we could at least send word ahead. I personally do not have that kind of gift or that kind of power, but if we had someone who could send messages, or if you have someone who could even ride ahead.
It appears, at least per Leosin's information, which we have no reason not to trust at this point, given the events that have unfolded, that the collecting is complete. That the intended path is to a final destination, not a raiding checklist.
I mean, but there could still be an attempt made on the way back. Hirgost, is that what the map says? If they could intercept the raiding party and, you know, recover the treasure that they're taking back, that would be...
Oh, Barragost, yes, sorry.
Arthagast. Sorry, the arrow was in the way.
Let me fix that for you.
Wow.
This must be the great ceremony they were talking about.
Yeah.
But we still don't know where this great ceremony is going to take place, do we? All we know is that it's north.
North for great ceremony, and if we look on the map, the
What is
furthest
this
up it
shadowy
goes.
place? Yeah.
I assume it's where their path
What about
ends.
the great shadowy place?
Exactly.
I'm just assuming it's where the path ends on the map that they themselves wrote.
At
This
least
just
that
looks
place
like it's
may lead to the
uncharted.
right-
Sorry, I don't have.
Make a... Wow.
Map check?
Can we insight check the map?
Locational directional knowledge check.
The
make
L
just a-
word I was
in-
thinking of.
Make an
sense of
intelligence, a general intelligence check. I don't have a particular skill. in
I rolled a
it.
5. So 9.
Everybody can make that check.
Oh,
Oh, thank goodness.
sure.
Save
may
me.
as well.
Save me.
Not that.
I'm going to opt on not using my +2 because I am dumb, period.
That's a 2 from me.
That's a 9.
15.
Okay, I've finally decided for reasons that it should be a history check. So if I'm not going to make you take away from it, but if a history check would add to this result at all,
I think it's the same. Yes, it's
Is
the
it the
same
same?
for me.
Okay.
Same.
It's the
None of us are proficient in history.
I'm
Okay.
half proficient, but that makes it +0.
Aster and especially Juno, you're getting a feeling that this is not a complete map. Well, all of you know that there's way more going north of Barragost and Elturel. Like there should be way more there than there is on this particular map. So this very vague set of directions, which really just follows a main road anyway, is incomplete.
think it's Aster thinks it's just more of a lead, if that makes sense.
Is there any known shrine or anything to Tiamat already established? Like
What
how
would I
most gods
know?
have temples.
Yeah, what would I know about that?
May everybody make a history check? A new one.
Yes. I'm gonna use my +2, 17.
Okay.
Also 17.
Oh, by the way, have you guys been keeping track of your chat cleric stuff? Because I
Yeah,
Yes.
we have been.
Okay.
Yeah, I still have a +2 from last session, and there's a big part of me that wants to use it right now just for twin powers, but I'm
Okay.
gonna say
I believe I don't have anything yet.
You do not.
Okay.
We would have been a lot louder about it.
a lot angrier,
Yeah.
usually.
12, 15, 5, 10,
17.
17.
Sorry, let me write that down.
Mine will be 12 total. I had a +2 from chat. That's all.
Okay. Aster, you're a little lost on the history, cartography aspect of things. But the rest of you know that, I shouldn't say no. To your knowledge, like aside from like maybe small underground like chapter of the cult groups, which is extremely common for all cults, and there are many. You don't know of any like major existing key points of interest for the cult of the dragon, and like with confidence, you've not heard of such a thing.
It looks like there's something more than meets the eye. We just don't know what.
Maybe it's just mountains. Maybe dragons like mountains.
They do.
It was going back to that image on the wall in the cave. It would have been difficult for you to tell if that depiction was like metaphorical or literal.
Question
Oh.
for you, Governor. Have you heard of any other raiding parties, or is this the only one?
Given the scale that would be necessary for such a feat, we can only assume that there should be more. This
That's
is
what I was
simply
thinking as
the
well.
only one we know of.
Did you guys get any cake? Do I have to make more? Sorry, sister.
She'll just kind of like look at them and then like look at what she did to the cake and be like, didn't think about others needing to eat this. My main query is, or question, I guess. Where did you say they came from before Greenest? We don't know. We don't know if they were at Iriabor or Bear Dusk.
You all came from Erebor, so you would have heard, right?
They all
Chris
did come
and
from
Astrid
Iriabor, but
Malta?
they explicitly did not hear of any raid activity to that point. But the governor will respond. According to Leosin, they came from south.
Okay.
It was the only reference that he gave us. It's unclear to us if that's all he knew or if he had done any research leading up to that point himself. We do know that he was specifically confident in Greenest being next, and he was correct. And this map you show us lines up with his thoughts on what was next.
For all we know, they could be meeting someone at the point that's on the map. This could just be a conjunction point for multiple parties to meet. It may not even be their final destination.
Mm-hmm.
I think, unfortunately, I don't know that there's much that we can garner from Greenest about what's happening next.
This is another new thought, but we know they were hatching black dragons, and we saw different markings of different types of dragons on the wall carving. What if this is just the black dragon branch of the cult, and they meet the four others there, and that's where they continue? This is just a fifth of it.
Eliseo,
Mm-hmm.
thank you for that message, because it reminded me about something that we should have discussed by now, but have not. So we
Zoops.
need to throw some information on the table.
Okay.
You have 3 names.
Yes, I do.
One of them was Frulam Mondath.
I have it.
Another is a half-orc named Bog Luck. The third is a half-dragon named Rezmir.
I want you to know I literally looked at those names, read them, and was like, those are important names.
You
the
also
session
know
that we met Frulam Mondath.
Yep. You also know
Did not connect it.
that Rezmir.
We've encountered that name before too.
Yes.
Yes,
You've
that was
encountered
the one.
name. You know that Rezmir is a black half-dragon.
That is important because Rezmir was the one I heard Frulam and Langdedrosa talking about. They were talking about Rezmir as their superior, and if this is the black branch that would support that random theory I just had, which I didn't even think about before I said, high five, Aster.
Also, in case anybody has forgotten, Langdedrosa was a blue half-dragon.
Correct.
Which does not support my theory, but we're gonna throw that one away.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they may not be sending. If he is a superior, like that superior could be at
She. Rezmir's a she.
she.
Yeah.
She could be at the location already. Like if she's calling the shots, there's no reason for her to be out on the open road.
Yeah. Would we know from like myths of Tiamat and stuff if there is a dominant head or personality that might tie into which branches are more powerful, or like, you know, if that's why there's the black dragon in charge, because, you know, like trying to piece things together through what we know.
Make a history or religion check. Your choice.
I think I'm gonna make a religion. Let me pull that up. I'm gonna make either. 11.
You know that Tiamat is essentially the goddess, the queen of quote-unquote evil dragons. But gleaning any more detail beyond that is difficult.
So, like, maybe, like... No, that's too much spitballing. I don't want to bore you guys.
Hey now.
We don't have too many other ideas, so go for it.
Okay, Black Dragon was in charge, Blue Dragon was higher up, but we don't... You know, we know at least the Black Dragon was ahead of him. So, what if it's, like, a dominant aspect of Tiamat's personality, and, like, decoding the different dragon types or personalities is, like, how to, like... you know, think about, or how to get an advantage is like to play into weaknesses of them.
To keep what you're thinking entirely fair, Hyacinth, it's the other way around. Black Dragon, between the two of them, Black Dragon was higher ranking.
Yeah, did I say that wrong?
I think you said it the other way.
Okay, I had it straight in my brain. Got all mixed up when it made it to Icarus.
All good.
So
You're just being in character, it's fine.
yeah, and I feel like that, while that was a decent idea, the way I was going to say it at first was, which of Tiamat's head speaks when she talks?
With that 11, you would have no idea.
I don't want to think about that one.
Well, that's just like, that was the way I got to it, and then I elaborated and made more sense of it.
Yeah, is it 5 different personalities, each thinking like one's more powerful than the next, or is it
Where one leads the
one?
others.
Yeah.
All of you can make a history or religion check individually if you'd like to glean potentially an answer to that question.
How do
That's 12.
That's a 25.
12 as well.
Nice. LSAO,
Hi. How do dragons talk?
you know that in the case of Tiamat, it's actually a mix. There's like a central...
The redhead is the central one, right?
Between the 5, there's this sort of central consciousness. It is one being.
Yeah.
However, if the legends are true, the 5 heads can act in coordination as if they were individual beings, short of like physically splitting from each other.
Yeah.
The rest of you, like, this is all stuff of legend and cosmic powers beyond your understanding.
Because I may be overthinking this, but I think if I remember correctly, the different types of dragons like inhabit different areas, have different elements, have different reactions. So maybe that's how to get an edge on her if we ever get to that point, and we have to, is to target one aspect at a time.
You would all also have a very good sense of half dragons being pretty rare. Like, there's half dragons and then there's dragonborn, and these are 2 specifically different species. And while dragonborn are not like all over the place, they're far more common than half dragons. And the fact that you now know of 2 of them is...
I don't necessarily know where half dragons come from, but I heard a story once. I heard a story once where a bard tried to seduce a dragon.
Oh my god!
And maybe that's it. Have you guys heard that one? I feel like that's a common one.
I'll just look around the table.
This
Put
is
another
unnecessary theory
four-fold
crafting.
cape.
I'm sorry. All half dragons have a bardic parent.
That's stereotyping bards. Come on. Not all bards.
Yeah, I don't know if anything else will help us get, or is anything that we need at this time other than overthinking for what may come.
Ulta is going to pipe up and go, I mean, ultimately, I think really the biggest question at hand is, do we head directly to Beregost directly rather than following the path that they're following, or do we head directly north to attempt to cut them off before they get there?
Do you say that in character?
Yes.
The governor will pipe in and say, Leosin was insistent on meeting him in the holy city, Elturel.
That's where I was thinking we should go too, just to find a contact. I don't know where your contacts might be, and she'll look to both Ulta and Aster. But if he's a member of the Harpers, then maybe he can give us some direction as to where we go next, or at least another agent further north. We're all fairly connected, even if we're quite distant from one another.
I mean, even from what we heard, he put in the seeds for all of our factions, so it makes sense the next step is to hear from him what he thinks. And if nothing, we're at least headed north. It's straight north and a little off path, but at least we're not going the opposite direction entirely.
And we could cut across after going to Elturel and go directly west, or we could go back on the side road and go north that way and try to get like the surprise advantage by just kind of hauling ass up that road.
Leosin did mention that a deeper plan would arise from meeting him and his contacts in Elturel. Perhaps we should focus on the next point at hand and not make too many assumptions. We want to make sure that we're extremely tactical and careful about our next steps in taking on this cult.
back to my more intelligent sister's point about messages. You don't have anyone here that can do that, do you? Otherwise, we might have to try to find someone on the way to send note to people.
Send messages?
Yeah. Because I know they're not hoarding or attacking anymore, but we might want to warn cities on their path to like clear the way because they might come through.
We do not have any methods of sending messages other than the owl, of course. Which will be quicker than physically going ourselves, but not as quick as the immediate magical message. I'm sorry, what'd you say, Juno?
Oh, have you sent one yet? She's like, that would have been like the first thing I did. Just kind of like, what?
We had intended to wait until the end of this day to see if you would arrive or not before sending a complete message.
Well, let's draft that and get it going then, because we're here, so the sooner the better.
Of course.
Yeah, and
Who is that message going to?
We need to find the names of the leaders in Baragast and Baldur's Gate. Baragast should be easy enough being a small farming town, but Baldur's Gate seems to go through many changes over short periods of time, and all of you would know that to be true.
Where is Baldur's Gate on this map?
He will circle it and point it out to you.
what color Sharpie does he use? Well, I feel like
Right
it should be
there.
different than what's already on there, you know? Oh, okay, gotcha.
Are you able to see Coastway right here? Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I hate the speed of it all, but time is literally of the essence.
We will draft those messages and send them by owl immediately. But I believe the task ahead for you is to head north.
I'm gonna walk back to the kitchen and start stress baking until someone pulls me aside to leave.
I'm going to ask the governor if he has any connections to the Lord's Alliance and if he could get a message to them as well, or if he's just sending word to people in higher ups. Like, I'm just trying to get in contact with my connection, I guess.
If you would like to write a message, I can attempt to contact an old one. Though, as I understand it, he stopped activity with the faction some years ago. Ulta, you would, you get an increasing sense of the scarcity of people who are in contact for your faction. To the point that it's not entirely clear to you how well established this faction actually is.
Check.
Also purple, not old one like the pack. Literally just an old contact.
That's what he wants us to think.
Yep.
It's a lich.
Let me double check my notes just to make sure.
Ulta's still gonna write that letter just in case. And address it to Kerrigan with the Lord's Alliance.
Okay. If you feel well rested enough, we believe it's imperative that you leave as soon as possible.
Get out, they said.
We gotta turn this house over for the next Airbnb guest.
There
Oh
you
my
go.
Goodness. I knew it.
That's why it was so nice when we came back.
They will also add to it, we cannot express how grateful we are for the help that you've brought to this town.
Are they holding each other's hands under the table?
Oh
No.
my gosh.
course.
Governor will pipe in and say, I have full confidence that we would not be here now had you not intervened. And with that phrase, Ulta, they'd be looking directly at you. And of course, the lot of you, with the information you've gained from going into that hatchery and learning what you have, we have much to plan for.
Love Shack, baby, love
Stop
Shack.
that.
Of course. Just kind of a random question, but have two individuals that look like they were, from the raiding party from the cult passed
Oh, yeah.
through here at all?
Oh, you're talking about the
We're talking
Chance
about
and not
chance and not
chance.
chance.
Hue and Do,
We need to know.
chance and not chance.
She is actually
Chance and no
concerned.
chance. We did tell him to go find jobs around here.
I wasn't gonna bring it up for their safety, but
Yeah, same. But like, I do want to know.
Do you tell them about chance and not chance, or do you just generically ask that question? That's not a
Generically
leading
asking
question.
the question.
just any newcomers or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
No. We already had a pretty thorough accounting of the inhabitants of our town, and it doesn't seem we've had any visitors outside of the occasional traveling merchant in the last 3 days, other than the raiding party itself, of course.
Well, all right.
For the question of urgency, I yell from the kitchen, like whisking, "Are the horses well rested to go tonight, or sleep on it, or what do we think?"
They're ready to go now, and you'll find a full pack of supplies along with them.
That's very kind.
Well,
What do we think?
I think we should just get on our way.
Yeah, Master's ready to go when you are.
All right.
I didn't really unpack, so.
Very fair.
Hey, Icarus.
Hey,
Start baking road food.
the cake's not gonna be ready. I could cut it into smaller pieces.
need
and I could
Langdedrosa.
just
Hey, we got a
make
couple of
mini.
roadies.
I'm just gonna like divvy up the batter into smaller pieces, hoping it bakes faster.
Make
you
us cupcakes.
Lemon
That's a-
bread or bust.
I'm just gonna start grabbing mugs off the counter and just try to cook it in the mug.
Yes, good. I'm about this. Make us cupcakes for the road.
mug cakes.
Okay, at this point, they're both going to stand up and give all of you like a completely heartfelt nod, like almost into a bow, and say,
Yeah.
"Thank you again so much. We will see you soon."
Yes.
I'm gonna wink at the sergeant and say, "Call me."
I will smack you on the back of the head.
As I'm wearing the apron that says "Kiss the Cook."
Awesome.
What's his response?
This is to test it, because if he reacts at all, that might mean he's a little leaning that way, which means him and the governor might both lean that way, you know?
At first glance, you don't really elicit a response at all.
Can I
Sunday.
insight check for the response?
You can.
Oh, Jiminy Cricket, that's my best roll all night. And I think I have insight. 21.
You shot your shot. He's not into it, but he's not being rude about it.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Oh, respect. Now insight check the
And
governor.
then after it, I give him a head nod, like, gotcha. I wasn't either. It was for theory.
Yeah. Okay. So.
As
Sitting
they
in the
leave,
kitchen, 6
like
feet
once they're
apart,
like
'cause they're not
outside
kids.
the house, Juno will just run out for a second and be like, "Thank you for welcoming us here and giving us a home."
Of course.
This is
It seems it was far beyond worth it. And I look forward to seeing you again.
Also, do you have any spell scrolls that I could take down the road? Because I'm a wizard, and I'm not ashamed about it.
Don't we wish, dear wizard? Don't we wish?
Okay, just checking. If Icarus is shooting his shot, I'm shooting mine.
Wouldn't know if you didn't ask, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so this is a perfect opportunity to take another really quick break, if that's cool with you guys.
Sure.
And then I believe we're coming back with you guys pretty much starting to head out the next
On the road
direction, yeah?
again.
All right.
On the road to Viridian City.
Yeah, we will be right back. And in the words of Corndog McGraw, let's party. We
Good
are.
words.
So the conversation with the governor and sergeant of Greenest has concluded. They have left at this point after exchanging information with you guys that lines up, as they say, with what Leosin has relayed to them. Some of it was intended to relay to you, especially the point about him being insistent upon you guys meeting him in the holy city of Elturel. Though you also know that at least based off of the map that you found in Frulam's office, that the raiding party that had ransacked Greenest is on its way west to Bargost and then north from there. The governor and sergeant were in agreement that you should meet Leosin and his other associates, we'll say, in Elturel. And you have 2 horses in a carriage.
Technically 3 if we need one. Aster can
Technically, you
take
are a
shit.
horse.
It's fine.
Can I fall asleep like hugging the horse and like riding it and just?
You can
Or you could be-
certainly try that.
or
Get in the wagon.
You could strap yourself up to the horse funny so that you could fall asleep and not fall off.
You will not sleep well.
I just want to hug it.
You probably won't sleep well. You can give it a
Well,
hug.
go hug the horse.
Give hug on break.
Do they have names, DM?
They do now.
They don't yet.
They do now.
What do they look like?
Clydesdales. The largest
Big
horses you've
boys.
seen. Big boys.
boys.
Uh-huh.
I rode one as a kid and I was afraid it was gonna fall off and die.
So did I. That was my exact fear. So much panic. Such big animal.
What about Clyde and Dale?
That's exactly what my head
You
thought.
can name them Clyde and Dale if you so choose.
Greetings, beautiful horses.
It's Clyde and Dale.
Are you ready to make venture?
They're grazing. Just chomping.
Can I walk up and like pet one, stroke his mane? Definitely walking from the front so he or she or they know I'm there.
Yeah, they just kind of like look at you, keep chomping.
Yeah, I guess we just strap them up
Yeah.
and go.
Yeah,
Here we
let's
go.
on.
Off we go.
They are. You would have had to go to the keep. It's non-consequential, but we can say that you guys left shortly after Sergeant and Governor did. Went back to the keep where the horses and carriage were already packed up and ready to go for you. And are we saying you're on your way?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. So you have 2 choices. You know that the road heading east, which is essentially backtracking the way you came in the first place, meets at a fork to go north on the Tradeway. Passing Burdusk and basically following the Campfire River. I should have revealed that on the map earlier, sorry. Campfire River is the one that heads from just south of Baldur's Gate eastward, overlapping Elturel. Elturel's not exactly in the right spot. Move you a little bit and move you a little bit. You can tell from the map that Elturel looks to actually intersect with both that road and the river. Which you would understand to actually be the case. And then, so you could either take this paved road that basically follows the river through Burdusk into Elturel if you take the correct fork, or you can plow through the plains in between you and a straight shot. You know that the roadway would likely be safer, and that the straight shot way would likely be faster. The choice is yours.
Shot.
I think fast is more important given the timeline
Yeah.
we have.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
But
say it again.
we're capable. We can handle
We have
fast. and-
two votes for fast.
I feel like it might be easier on the horses and the wagon if we go slow. And just take the long way around. Sir Heck, I think you've been muted this whole time.
Oop. Hello.
Oh, there we go. Now I can hear you. I saw you talking earlier, but other people were talking, so I didn't want to interrupt and be like, Heck, your mic!
Heck. It's fine.
Our
Everything's fine.
patron deities, Rogers and Purple Phil, say fast. Just throw that. No, I'm kidding.
Aster also thinks slow would be best. Taking a cart over anything not road is usually not a good idea.
Yeah, I don't know how to repair an axle.
I have mending.
Magic.
What, DM, what kind of terrain is it straight when we go faster?
Asking the
plains?
important questions.
Plains, yeah. So like rolling hills. At
Womp
worst,
womp.
rolling hills. Yeah.
That is not my favorite terrain, so I would suggest probably the longer way, because I cannot assist
Yeah.
in making it harder or rather easier for us to travel.
I'm fine with the longer way if we want,
Yeah.
but rolling hills is probably the smoothest we could ask for a quick shot.
For insight's sake in the decision making, you would also be able to tell that between the unknown nature of the terrain ahead of you, like you can tell from the map, it's probably safe to judge it's mostly rolling hills / plains. So the unknown of that factoring in, you would estimate that the time saved would be along the lines of a day. About 6 days if by road, about 5 days, assuming no problems, if the straight way.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like we have votes for safe, so we'll go safe. That's fine. Okay.
All right.
I mean, like, maybe push the horses a little because they're Clydesdales and they're tough big boys, but I don't know.
Or if it's possible to add a third horse.
Yeah, third horse, if that helps. If you want to spend time as a horse anyways, do it. Like, do what you want.
I can cast heroism on the horses, see if it helps.
I'd prefer we don't exhaust our horses,
Yeah.
personally.
Well, we'll see how it goes. We got
Yeah.
days to decide.
Let's go on to the road.
Okay.
I was
So
gonna
heading
see if
out-
I had. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I was gonna see if I have anything to, like, help bolster anybody's strength. And I'm like, oh, I have sleep. No, that's the opposite of what we want.
I mean, I have enhance ability, but
That's more on brand.
I don't
But
think that
anyways.
lasts very long.
Nah. All right. We're hitting the trail. When do we
Okay.
ford the river?
Not yet. So we have this is an easy opportunity right now, if you want, for us to have a discussion about potential downtime activities. And I know this is like a mix between downtime and not downtime, but I'll put it on the table. I'm not a huge fan of random encounters, at least not for the sake of random encounters. So I don't intend to, over the 6 days of travel time that you have, to like throw in a random combat just for the sake of throwing in a combat. We have briefly talked about potential downtime activities like long-term crafts and skills to hone. So I've already revealed, in character, it's about 6 days travel time, unless you go at a more grueling pace, which presents its own risks to get there. So you have, does anybody want to explore trying to do anything over several days of travel time, or are we pretty much plowing through? It's entirely up to you guys.
At some point during the 6 days, Aster will try to find like just a smaller bird, make sure it's like native to where she's from, make sure it's not migratory, and is actually going to cast Animal Messenger on it. And she is going to just send it to her village, just to either of her parents, just saying, hey, I'm still around and I hope everything is okay back there.
Okay, Sir Heck, what is your favorite type of bird?
Oh, don't ask me
That's
that.
the wrong question to ask, Heck.
Oh, no.
Okay,
How dare
let's
you.
generalize more. If you had to pick between like a hawk and a parakeet, which would you pick?
Probably a hawk.
Okay, so you find a insert D&D hawk bird reference here that matches
Hawks
exactly
exist in
what you're going
D&D.
for. Do they? As
Yeah.
hawks? Okay.
There's a stat block for hawks.
All right,
in the
you
back
find a
of the
hawk.
PHP.
You find a hawk, you maintain a connection with it, and you know that this is the exact type of bird that you're looking for sending such a message.
For sure.
While we're out and about, I would collect some water to bless as we're going. And just kind of have a nice little satchel of blessed holy water using ceremony just on the repeat.
Nice. Okay.
Just in
Um,
case.
Stockpiling holy water.
Ulta is definitely going, when we stop collecting, she's going to be collecting wood to create her half shelter shield thing that is like kickstanded up.
Yeah, okay. So let's do this. Juno, you don't need a skill check to make holy water, right? That's just
No, I have a
thing you
spell
can
for
do.
that.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
And we'll say across 6 days, you may do that as many times as you choose to create a 1 unit of holy water each time, and we'll have you mark up a skill point toward alchemy for each. Whether you're
Ooh.
intending to go for alchemy long term or not, it may not be relevant, but just in case.
It would
let's
help
do
me
that.
have conversations with my spouse, because
Yep.
I feel like they would find that as an intelligent hobby to pick up on the side.
It's really funny because I was like, what do I want to put skills into? Alchemy. So
There you go. Well, Niffer, I believe we also talked about potentially spell crafting.
Mhm.
So that is on the table.
That is on the table. Niffer's not smart enough to make up spells though.
Okay. That's
so,
fine.
like, I would like to, but I also would have no idea of what spells I would want to make.
So to be fair to the long-term effort that is spellcrafting, we can say that even if you don't have specific ideas in mind, you can still be researching into the craft.
Okay, cool.
So perhaps you spend some time studying your own spellbook.
Okay.
You're studying spell components. You're studying verbal and somatic components of casting a spell.
Chat did just remind me that Shadow Yoink isn't a thing yet, and it should be. So
Shadow Yoink is not a thing, and
I guess I'm making Shadow Yoink.
as far as you know, it's not outside the realm of possibility. Yep.
Yeah,
So
good deal.
I'm
doing that.
You may spend time studying even what you already have in regards
steal
to
shadows.
spell casting.
I'm gonna do that.
Okay.
It's gonna be my thing.
So for every hour that you spend studying, we will add 1 point to spellcrafting. You may do up to 8 per day.
Sure.
And then, Ulta, you said you were gathering resources for potentially crafting this shield, right?
Yep.
6 days, 8 hours each. I'm going to say that you could reasonably gather enough of those resources by the time you pass for dusk, you know, with that wooded area right there, within a day. And then, are you doing anything in particular to start creating such a craft, or are you planning ahead? Are you doing a mix of both? What's the thinking here?
He probably would have taken out like a small notebook and drawn out like a draft of it and really thought out like, if I put this here and do it this way,
magnanimous dispensation.
It'll do A, B, C, and D. So it is essentially exactly like what I sent you, or what I don't know if I did I ever send you the actual thing? Because I have it.
Yes, you did send it to me.
Okay. So she's just like, the first couple of days will probably just be her like drawing out her like plan of that, and then trying to find the materials, and then attempting to start the crafting. So she knows it's going to be a process. There's no expectation that would happen immediately.
Sure. So within the half day that you are around, and like this bend where a bridge goes across the river and meets with the edge of this wooded area, you're able to easily gather what you can glean is enough wood to like trial and error the start of construction of this thing and have some excess. And then between that and your note taking with like the planning out of how you want to make this happen, let's say you have about 15 hours, so 15 points toward the crafting skill point toward making that. Let's mark that for now, and then taking that information and what I had written down so far about that crafting, we can figure out how far along to potentially making that shield you are.
Sure. Perfect.
Okay. And then, did anyone else have anything?
I would like to, well, especially because I need a rest within like the first few hours of him traveling. This will happen pretty quick, but my goal was to, I've been like observing, and my sister likes to pray in her trances, and I know that I have some sort of connection, and I would like to, like, in my like 4-hour trance like rest, I want to try to meditate or send a prayer or whatever would be the appropriate term for sending thoughts to my patron. And it's going to be along the lines of, I like praying for some guiding light, and I know the light is there and the light can grow, like, please show me the way, or, just like, especially with like all of the emotions and the unsureness and a little bit of like, self-consciousness within himself, he feels like he needs it, but then like with waves of his emotions are all poured into these thoughts and prayers, and it's like one day it'll be the unsureness of like what they're doing next, and then the next day it'll be the frustration and like hope to stop Frulam for if they may have harmed Ulta, and then he's just pouring all of his emotions into that, trying this new outlet he may not have tried yet.
Okay. You are attempting to reach out to a deep back in history deity. Coralon, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So essentially like the birth of elves.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that you are a warlock by classification in this world. You know that generally that comes with having made some sort of pact, or a crude word for it would be deal with a powerful enough entity. But in this instance of sort of reaching out into a better depth and understanding of what your abilities may reveal for you, you know that it's not so simple. And you get a feeling that there's actually like a real connection for a fleeting moment with you and this creator, really.
Yeah. And from Icarus' side, it's a lot of emotions, a lot of desperation. But also, I feel like there's a lack of understanding too on his end. Like, he knows there's something, he has ideas of like where it may have come from, like how he was found, but he doesn't fully piece together like his, like what we know in the backstory. He doesn't fully piece that together yet, I don't think.
Yep. Okay, we're on the same page there. So what you glean from, you do feel like you get a response in this particular reaching out. And it feels, for you, it feels like your interpretation of your sister's description of what it means to pray. But you know that this is explicitly different. For her, prayer is to a deity. For you, this is more of a bonded connection that actually already existed, and you're just tapping into it for the first time.
Okay.
You get a sense of calming over this rest and an encouragement toward your gifts. And at the mention of the word gifts, you immediately turn toward an incorporeal bow, as well as a tone of music.
And I'm assuming, since I knew my lyre was a gift, that I was holding it in my hands as I prayed. So.
You can feel power emanating from it.
And I'm going to assume that's like the end of one of my trances, and I open my eyes and just feel it in my hands. And I'm just like, as much as it's calming, it's a lot. So it's just like taking it in.
All right. At the end of the fourth day, you've taken the course that you've been led on. You're past this fork to the north. You're all able to see this, right? Okay, yeah, looks like it. You've crossed a few different, veins of the river you know as the Cyanwrath River. And as you make camp at an evening, actually, I should ask, have we reset to quote unquote day shift, or are you still going travel through night, rest by day?
I think we're probably day traveling by now.
Yeah, I think we'd be day traveling.
Okay.
I think
Just
we
because
should...
I'm the only one that has the advantage of night traveling.
Okay.
Yeah. But also, Juno and I would probably keep alternating watches since we both trance.
Yep.
Sure.
Like, probably not necessary, but just as a thing.
Yep. And okay, so that's good to know. And for the record, that's been inconsequential, Jesus, to this point. At the end of the fourth day, when you're essentially making camp and starting to set up for watches to happen for the evening, you all would notice that your fire burns a little bit more fiercely than normal. And toward the point that you would normally start to sleep.
I'm also casting Lemon's Tiny Hut each night, and I'm very excited to show the group on our first night out on the road.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Look at what I learned in my last trance! And poof.
I'm very
A
proud
small
of
dome
you.
appears.
I'm very, very proud.
This fire is burning a little bit more fiercely than normal. And those of you who have been putting them together and stoking them and getting them ready are like, whoa, did we use different wood? Or like, what's going on here? And then at one point, just before you all settle down, a small swirl and tornado of flames wisps out from the center and pops up into a cone emanating from the center of your fire, and after just a brief moment forms into a man, the visage of a man with a hooded cloak. The hood's pulled down, and you can tell that this is a figure with a large beard and mustache, and he greets you.
I will draw my bow. Who are you?
Aster is
not.
backing away.
My name is Arthagast.
Arthagast.
I am with the Council of Waterdeep. It is my understanding that you are to be rewarded as the heroes of Greenest.
I didn't know we had a reward.
Your reward, it seems, should be the tasks ahead of you, though I come with tidings of care and caution. Ulta, he looks directly at you and says, "It's my understanding that you alone faced the half-dragon."
She sure did. She's really
Yes.
cool.
Yeah, I'm like,
The Council has been informed of your deeds and movements and information. I personally thank you for your help. We do not know nearly enough about this cult and its doings. You have provided much for us.
Ulta's going to bow because she has no idea what else to do.
Ulta, your contacts will make themselves readily available. All of you, please find. Looks for name because I just lost it. Jesus H.
Find Jesus H. Got it.
Yes. Find Jesus Christ. I just had it.
Superstar. No, not ready.
I started singing it. I'm sorry, my mic did not pick it up.
Oh
the
god damn it! Take a
episode.
serious. Leave it to me to take a
Who you
serious thing and like
say
fuck it up.
So
like that.
many thoughts went through my head of who this is.
There
No
we go.
idea. Was not who I thought. Didn't have any idea.
My only thought was, oh yeah, it's that scene from Harry Potter where Sirius Black is just talking through the fire.
Mine was like, Aster, stop it. Just because she usually does fire stuff.
Oh,
You will
no,
find
she-
Leosin with Onthar Froom.
With who?
Unthar.
Onthar Froom. Ontharr. Last name Frume.
Gosh, I spelled everything wrong.
I look forward to eventually meeting you in Waterdeep. And the fire completely dissipates back into a normal evening campfire. And that's where we will finish tonight's session.
All right.
Sick.
I guess
So now people can find us in fires.
Cool. We are
Not gonna light any more fires.
Don't like that. Don't like that.
All right, we gotta
is
get a little
the
like
worst time.
not turn off GPS tracking spell.
Yeah. How do we get those amulets of like non-detection or whatever they are?
I would love that.
If you want, you can all make an Arcana check or Insight check to like figure out what the heck just happened.
Sure.
Ooh, I rolled well.
By the way, we do have a good table.
Yeah,
and
we
I
have a
guess we're
good
gonna have to
table.
roll over.
Oh, we have a good table?
Yeah, we got a good table.
Put it in chat.
it. We will use it for next
We'll do
session.
it
This
next
is a very RP heavy session, obviously, so we will bring a good table into next session.
It's a 21 from me.
22 insight.
Okay.
Beach,
Seven.
Beach's sister.
Listen, Aster is
Fine.
scared. She is visibly like shaken by this and staying away. Does not like it.
So Juno and Icarus, it would be a bit of a surprise because you've never seen this before, but you are familiar with the manipulation of elements for the purpose of sending messages. So this was absolutely a magically sent interaction with the purpose of contacting you.
Did it feel like a one-way message? Like they were just sending us a message, we couldn't have responded, or was it?
Well, to talk to him.
You knew.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
You got some back and forth in there, yeah. But yeah, the fire has dissipated. The name was.
I have
Damn it,
Arthagast and Onthar with Leosin.
Yep, that's what I have. How did you spell Arthagast? Because I spelled it
Arthur
Gast. G-H-A-S-T.
Oh, I had no
spelled-
H, but
I spelled it
Arthagast.
Radagast.
Arthagast.
A-G-A-S-T.
I spelled it Radagast.
Arthagast.
Because I'm B.
And the person you were told to look for is Ontharr
Froom.
Frume.
Yeah. Gunther Fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I think we'll skip an outro for tonight, just because we've been all talking a lot already.
Sure.
Just remember, for all you viewers out there, we will be back, same bat time, same bat channel, in 2 weeks. In the meantime, stay tuned to our schedule, our Discord, our website. All this stuff has all of our activities going on, and our schedule is jam-packed. So there's stuff happening all the time.
Every night.
Yup, pretty much every night.